Chapter 185. That sword was too eye-catching, it blinded everyone's eyes. Old ancestor Su. Feng Polia was shocked. He didn't expect to see such a godlike person from Su family. He was much more reserved. When old ancestor Su walked over, he took a few steps back and opened up a path. This was respect towards old ancestor Su. Such an expert was famous for a long time. His strength was indiscernible. He had heard about him when he was in Insect Valley. He was from the same generation as his master. Even his master had once said that his master was slightly inferior to him. "Granddaughter, why don't you speak when you see grandfather?" Old ancestor Su looked at Su Ying and asked. Su Ying lowered her head. Su Ying greets grandfather. This time, because of her grandfather's appearance, she was out of danger. "And you have suffered a lot. If you can't take it, then go home. Girls in the outside world will always suffer." Old ancestor Su said. He had heard about what his granddaughter faced outside. Nine Bug Gang wasn't a good place. Although it was under Insect Valley had closed itself during these few years. Nine Bug Gang slowly broke free from Insect Valley's control and ruled over Fuzhou. Su Ying didn't reply. It was obvious that she didn't want to return. After Lin Fan knew that this was old ancestor Su, he wasn't interested. That seventh little miss was beaten up by his cousin, so it was better to be low profile. Thinking about his cousin, he immediately came to his cousin's side. He looked at his injuries and felt heart-pained. He quickly checked on the situation. "Kid, I saved your lives and you don't even thank me?" Old ancestor Su asked. This kid didn't have any knowledge. However, his cultivation was not bad. Lin Wani actually said that his son was trash. What was he thinking? Did people have such high standards now? Even when they were young, they didn't have such ability. "Thank you," Lin Fan replied. Old ancestor Su shook his head. That reply was a little shallow. "You are the same as your father." Old ancestor Su said, forget it, all of you are skilled. I have never seen anyone with weak cultivation who dares to fight demons at night. All of you are bold." Zhang Tianshan heaved a sigh of relief. Naturally, he knew who the person in front of him was, but they didn't know who he was. After all, Lin Wani was the most famous. On the other hand, he was just a bystander and did not have much of a presence. Now that the demons left, everything was safe. The demons suffered heavy losses. Half of them were slain by one sword. Anyone would feel heart-pained for a long time. Maybe it would make the demons feel fear. "It's all right." Lin Fan helped his cousin up. "Cousin, let's go, I will bring you back to heal up." Since he had accepted money from the people of Jiang City, he had to do it for them. Although his actions this time were impulsive, he didn't regret it. He was a young man after all. If he wasn't impulsive, how could he be called a young man? Especially young people who were trustworthy. He would not frown even if he had to go through a mountain of knives or a sea of flames. Steady? This does not exist. In fact, Yuan Tianchu's heart was almost paralyzed with fear. Danger, it was really too dangerous. He thought that he was going to die here tonight, but he didn't expect that there would be a way out. The feeling of surviving a calamity was really great. His mind was in a mess. He believed that this must be a conspiracy. It was definitely a conspiracy. But he couldn't figure out what this Lin fellow was trying to do. It was too profound. Even with his powerful analytical ability, he still couldn't figure it out. It was truly terrifying. The people in the city heard that there was no movement outside. Their hearts trembled. It couldn't be that he was finished, right? They didn't dare to open the city gates. That was because opening the city gates would allow those terrifying things to enter. However, the current situation was equivalent to a form of torture for them. It was truly too painful. If this went on, they would be forced to go crazy. Some bold people climbed onto the walls, sneaking their heads out in terror. They prayed in their hearts as they looked outside. When he saw the scenes outside, joy appeared on his face. He quickly came down and shouted, "Safe, we are safe, the demons have left." He ran and told the people about the situation outside. All of them cheered. That feeling of surviving a calamity was just too great. Huang Boran stayed in the manor, feeling uneasy. He quietly waited for the final outcome. The demons attacked the city, and with his Huang family's ability, they couldn't block them at all. They could only wait for death and not do anything at all. "Young master, we are safe." The demons were chased away by Marshall Path Mountain. A servant ran over to report the good news. "Who?" Huang Boran heaved a sigh of relief. This feeling of surviving a calamity, if one didn't personally experience it, one wouldn't be able to imagine it. As expected, Marshall Path Mountain has potential. The investment was worth it. It seems like I need to invest more. Huang Boran thought about it and slowly had an idea. Marshall Path Mountain. Cousin was healing up. His injuries were more serious, and his body was covered in wounds. The demon's poison was stuck to his flesh and couldn't be cut off. Old ancestor Su gave them a few pills for them to consume. He said that it could quickly remove the demon's poison. Then, he had to thank him. Lin Fan was also injured, but it wasn't a big problem. They were all small injuries. His physique reached Marshall Path Grade 11, which was a huge help to his recovery. After this matter, Lin Fan understood that he couldn't just do nothing. He had to become stronger. The feeling of helplessness when danger arrived, it made him feel really annoyed. Become stronger, he really had to take the initiative to become stronger. If Lin Wani knew what Lin Fan was thinking, he would be delighted. This kid really knew how tough it was to survive outside without strength. The sky was bright. Marshall Path Mountain regained its calm. Just at that moment, the entrance of Marshall Path Mountain was a little noisy. The Jiang City commoners surged over. They didn't come to find trouble with Marshall Path Mountain, but to give things to Marshall Path Mountain. The commoners carried small baskets with fruits, vegetables, eggs, etc. Some of the rich businessmen were also scared out of their wits last night. They were nearly frightened to death at home. The demons attacked, and if they weren't stopped, then the outcome would be catastrophic. Something huge would have happened. But Marshall Path Mountain bravely stepped out to help Jiang City defend against the demons. So, they came to give gift. Plaques and whatnot, those were all secondary. Some of them even sent taels of silver to him. Zhang Tianshan received the commoners. The smile on his face was like a blooming flower, so bright and beautiful. Who knew that Marshall Path Mountain would have such a day? This was something he didn't expect even in his dreams. Although it was dangerous, the rewards were huge. Very quickly, there were many things piled up on Marshall Path Mountain, and the commoners left. To the commoners, they suddenly noticed that it was good to have Marshall Path Mountain by their side, and they felt safe. "Grandfather, why are you here?" Suing asked. His grandfather was the pillar of the Su family and also the strongest person in the Su family. If the Su family didn't have his grandfather to guard it, then the Su family's position in Zwa City would suffer a heavy blow. "I made a trip to U City and met this kid's old man, so I came over to take a look. I didn't expect that you would clash with the demons at night. If I didn't arrive in time, you would have ended up badly." Old ancestor Su said. What he said was the truth. "Grandfather, Lin Wani harmed ants so badly, so why did you meet him?" Su-ing didn't have a good impression of Lin Wani. She heard Ant say that this person was a brute, uncultured, and rude. At that time, she even asked why did Ant like him. The answer she got was that he gave off a special aura. Su-ing was confused about that. Special aura? She couldn't imagine how such a person with no merits would have such a special aura. Old ancestor Su smiled. "There are some things you don't understand, but don't get involved with this kid. Your aunt was harmed, so I don't want my granddaughter to be harmed too." "Grandfather, how is that possible?" Su-ing replied right away. That was definitely impossible. She didn't care about such a guy. She didn't even think about such a thing. It is best if it is impossible. Imperial dynasty will marry a princess to him, and in the future, he will be the prince consort. Old ancestor Su said. Suing found it weird. The imperial court would betroth a princess to this person. How was that possible? At that moment, old ancestor Su looked at Zhou Zhongmao with a weird expression. He remembered that this kid was badly injured last night. Even if he consumed his pills, he definitely couldn't have recovered so quickly. Moreover, it seemed like he was perfectly fine. How did Lin Wani develop him? Or did he leave something up his sleeve for his son? Grandfather, what is wrong with him? Suing asked. Old ancestor Su smiled. It is hard to say. Okay, let's go meet that kid. Actually, I came this time to recognize him as my grandson. In the future, Lin Wani will be my son, ha ha ha. Suing was helpless. Grandfather still loved to play. Oh right, this kid is the one who hit your seventh sister. She isn't smart enough and doesn't even know who hit her, Hayes. Old ancestor Su sighed regretfully. Some of the juniors in the family were really smart, but some were really dumb. It wasn't scary to be beaten up. What was scary was to be beaten up and not know who did it. That was the truly scary thing. Suing was slightly furious. She didn't expect that he was the one who hit seventh sister. As expected, if they weren't from the same family, they wouldn't join the same family. She had already remembered Lin Fan. Back courtyard. Lin Fan was in deep thought about something. His days of being a salted fish would never return. It was time to work hard. If he was an expert, based on the situation last night, even if he didn't kill half of them with one sword, he would at least stomp a bunch of them to death. That was true strength. His current strength was far from it and he didn't have enough. Go Zi saw that young master's expression was solemn, like he was thinking about something. He stood at the side and didn't dare to disturb him. He had a feeling. Young master was definitely going to work hard. Grandson, what are you thinking about? Old ancestor Su smiled as he walked over and teased. Lin Fan took a look. You have problems. Rage points plus 66. Damn. This kid dared to scold him. He had balls. Chapter 186. He didn't even know what this fellow was here for. He just called him a grandson. If he wasn't old, he would have fought him to the death. After this matter, do you feel that you are really weak? Do you have any thoughts of becoming strong? Old ancestor Su smiled and asked. He had seen through the young man in front of him. That look of contemplation was exactly the same as when he felt that he was very weak in the past. Of course, what do you want to do? Lin Fan was a little wary of this old man. Although he didn't have any bad intentions, but there was definitely more to his words. If he wasn't careful, he would be dragged in. Old ancestor Su smiled. It is good that you do. I know your father. I saw that he was a decent person and wanted to be his father. Unfortunately, we weren't fated. Now that I see you, I am really happy. Why don't you recognize me as your grandfather? I will nurture you. Direct, he was really direct. This old man was here to recognize someone as his grandson. Normally, people with no pride would kneel down and call him grandfather. But who was Lin Fan? Would he casually recognize someone as his grandfather? Moreover, this didn't just concern him, it concerned his father. If he really did, then wouldn't his father be his son? So, he said that this old man had bad intentions. There is no need to trouble you, I will solve it myself. Lin Fan said. He just wanted to become strong. How tough could it be? In the past, he was just enjoying himself and didn't work hard. The small support system might not be strong, but it was enough for him. But as long as he had a few months, he was confident that he would be ahead of everyone. Kid, don't be stubborn. Sometimes, stubbornness doesn't have any benefit. Instead, you will waste a chance. Just like your father, He was stubborn when he was young and took a few more years on the wrong path. Old ancestor Su said. Lin Fan looked at him. Hearing your tone, you seem really familiar with my father. Haha, not very familiar, but really familiar. I hope that you won't be like your father. Once you miss something, you won't get it again. To have it again, apart from luck, you also need talent. But such luck and talent are 1 in a million. Old ancestor Su seemed like he was telling Lin Fan some sort of logic. Lin Fan asked, then, between you and my father, who is stronger? Old ancestor Su had a short moment of hesitation towards this question. He didn't want to lie, but since he had been asked, he had to say that he was the best. If it was in the past, he wouldn't hesitate to tell this kid that his father was defeated by him. But now, he might not be Lin Wani's opponent. Lin Wani's fortuitous encounters were simply too thick and ordinary people simply couldn't compare to him. Alright, there's no need to answer. I already understand, Lin Fan said. How could the other party's hesitant look escape his eyes? He was definitely not a match for his father. An inexplicable sense of pride. Old ancestor Su felt that something was wrong. Did the kid in front of him think wrongly about something? I want to ask, what is above grade 12? Lin Fan asked. His brother didn't tell him about this. When he read martial path theories in U-City, he only saw martial path grade 12. Old ancestor Su looked at Lin Fan with a weird expression. He didn't expect that he didn't know about the realm above grade 12. It seemed like Lin Wani really knew how to educate people. This was what they meant by telling you too much, and you would think too much, so it was best not to tell you. Kid, you know too little. Above grade 12 is Master Realm. This realm has started to break away from the range of normal martial path. Using internal strength to open up the Governor and Conception Meridians means that one has entered Master Realm. The realm above Master Realm is when the internal strength is connected to the limbs. This is also known as the 100 Meridians being opened up. That is when one steps into Grandmaster Realm. Your cousin already has the ability of a Grandmaster. Lin Fan said with a weird expression. My cousin is only grade 9, how can he be a Grandmaster? Haha, you don't understand. Your cousin's acupoints were opened up and his 100 Meridians were opened up. He has the initial strength of a Grandmaster. As long as he cultivates, he will become a Grandmaster in a short time. Your father is really willing to let someone protect you. He actually sacrificed himself to help your cousin open up his acupoints and meridians. Amazing, really amazing. Old ancestor Su exclaimed. Lin Wani was a bold person and normal people wouldn't dare to do that. To anyone, this was a huge opportunity. Of course, as the 100 meridians weren't cleared by one's own internal strength, it had a huge impact on the person involved. Lin Fan was in deep thought. He didn't expect his father to actually open up all the meridians in his cousin's body. So that was the case. He knew it, cousin was only at the 9th stage of the martial path, so how could the power that erupted from him be so strong? What about above Grandmaster? Lin Fan asked. He wanted to understand the cultivation realms of this magical world right away. But looking at old ancestor Su's expression, it was obvious that he didn't want to say much. Kid, enough, you are asking too much. With your talent, you will need at least 10 years to break through to Grandmaster. Your father only became a Grandmaster when he was 30. Once you become a Grandmaster, you will naturally know. Old ancestor Su was helpless. Young people nowadays were biting off more than they could chew. Lin Fan asked, my father only became a Grandmaster when he was 30? Then, you said that my cousin could become a Grandmaster in a short time, so why do I need so long? Kiki, that question isn't good. Let me give you an example. How long do you need to earn 100,000? But if I have 1,000,000 and give you 100,000, wouldn't you earn it in a short time? Old ancestor Su said. Lin Fan thought about it for a moment and nodded his head. And that makes sense. But why does it sound like there aren't many benefits for either side? Ha ha, you have a brain. Not bad, it does affect both sides. However, it isn't much for your father, but for your cousin it is. He didn't cultivate himself, so he is much more unfamiliar with it. He also doesn't have the ability, so he needs to be nurtured slowly. Your cousin is a smart person and knows the theory. He didn't try to break through right away, but slowly stabilized it. Old ancestor Su's words helped Lin Fan a lot, allowing him to understand many things that he didn't know in the past. Just like that, you asked and I answered, slowly communicating. Su-ing stood at the side, not anxious at all. She was thinking about 9 Bug Gang. She couldn't go back. Those people who followed her were all killed by her. If she went back, she would be walking into a trap. But she didn't expect those people to be so crazy. Also, who was it that wanted to kill her? Gang leader? If one said that there was a misunderstanding, who knew whether or not Su-ing would believe it? Those people saw Su-ing enter Marshall Path Mountain and didn't have any conflicts with them before leaving. They felt that since Su-ing had already betrayed 9 Bug Gang, she might not be her match in a head-on fight, so why not borrow someone else's knife to kill her? It was enough that she had a city of people to accompany her. Old ancestor Su said, "Kid, call me grandfather. I will give you some benefits and let you soar into the sky." Lin Fan looked at old ancestor Su. This fellow had a problem. "No need, I am not interested in all this," Lin Fan said. He had no interest in benefits at all. In the next period of time, he had to start to get busy and raise his cultivation. He had to raise it to grade 12 and then become a master and then a grandmaster expert. Old ancestor Su said that he would need many years, but he didn't believe it. He had the small support system, and if he couldn't reach grandmaster in a month, then he wouldn't be able to survive. When he decided to do something, it would be really terrifying. Old ancestor Su shook his head and sighed like he was filled with regret. Su family didn't owe Lin family, but Lin family owed Su family. He wanted Lin Fan to call him grandfather to give him good things. That was to take advantage of Lin Wani. Of course, if this kid didn't shout, then he wouldn't have anything good. Helping them get through the Een Demon crisis was already a huge help to them. "You really don't need it?" Old ancestor Su asked. He then tempted him, "As long as you shout, your life will be amazing." "No need," Lin Fan replied really cleanly. No matter what it was, he really didn't need it as there was no need. Rage points plus 88. Old ancestor Su was furious. This kid didn't know how to grab a chance. He was as dumb as a pig. Hey, forget it. Let him be stubborn. Old ancestor Su seemed to have something to do. He didn't stay on Marshall Path Mountain and left right away. The Een Demon matter came to an end. He scared them away with one sword, and they should have scurried back to U City East Forest. What Lin Fan was thinking was that since he could kill half with one sword, then why didn't he slash once more to wipe out all the Een Demons? That wasn't good at acting cool. Su-ing said, "You really are confident. What my grandfather gave you is enough to save you a lot of trouble. In the future, even if you regret it, it is useless." She had never seen such a person. If it was someone else, they would have knelt down and hugged his legs, willing to be his grandson. Lin Fan smiled. "Don't you know that my father is Lin Wani? What your grandfather has, how can my father not have?" Su-ing was speechless. His words made sense. "Let's not talk about this. I heard you say that what happened last night had something to do with 9 Bug Gang, or did they do it?" Lin Fan asked. He didn't have any enemies now, so it wasn't his style to disturb people for no reason. But 9 Bug Gang was different. He had a grudge with them long ago. Moreover, 9 Bug Gang purposely found trouble with him. If he could bear with it, then that really wasn't his style. Su-ing said, "Right, someone followed me. Maybe they thought that I had something to do with Marshall Path Mountain and betrayed 9 Bug Gang, which was why they lured the Een Demons over. I don't want to know about all this," I just want to know where 9 Bug Gang is? Lin Fan asked. Fuzhou, what do you want to do? Suing looked at Lin Fan. Did he have any other thoughts? Lin Fan said, what else can I do? I will definitely wipe out 9 Bug Gang. Of course, he knew that he didn't have the ability to wipe them out in one go. But what he didn't lack was time. Take it slow. He would infuriate them to death. Can you consider how I feel? Feng Polia looked at the two of them and said, no matter what, 9 Bug Gang was a subsidiary power of Insect Valley. Although he had left Insect Valley, he had to be more tactful. Chapter 187. You aren't from 9 Bug Gang, so what are you thinking about? Lin Fan looked at Feng Polia. They had been through thick and thin together, and all of a sudden their relationship soared. Feng Polia was helpless. Although he said that, as the big disciple of Insect Valley, his heart was still on Insect Valley. If he wiped out 9 Bug Gang, wouldn't Insect Valley suffer a loss? Thinking about it made him sad. You! Suing wanted to laugh. He actually said that he wanted to wipe out 9 Bug Gang. That wasn't a joke. Do you know 9 Bug Gang's strength? Her tone showed that she didn't have high hopes for Lin Fan and didn't think that he had the ability to wipe them out. It was just a bunch of nonsense. She didn't even say that he knew the power behind 9 Bug Gang. Insect Valley? No, that was a long time ago. The power behind them wasn't something he could offend. You don't need to know how strong 9 Bug Gang is. It isn't important to me because I have decided to wipe them out. Are you interested? I can bring you along. After all, you were abandoned. Lin Fan smiled and said. He was serious this time. His peaceful life had come to an end. His heart to become strong was swelling. When it reached a certain level, no one would be able to stop him. I won't go crazy with you. Suing rejected him. Lin Fan wanted to wipe out 9 Bug Gang. To her, it sounded like a fool bragging. He wanted to bring her along. That was the same as asking to die. That is such a waste. 9 Bug Gang nearly killed you and you could bear with it. Your grandfather even came and you didn't tell him the truth. I thought you wanted to take revenge personally, but who knew that you were just cowardly? Lin Fan was regretful. He thought that this girl was a hero, but it seemed like he was thinking too much. So she was a weakling. Maybe she was a weakling who didn't dare to take revenge. No matter what, he wanted to take revenge. 9 Bug Gang sent people to mess with him time and time again. They even provoked him. Who could take that? If it wasn't for him being a little far away. He was prepared to fight them today. You rage points plus 111. Suing was a little furious. What did this fellow mean? He was purposely provoking her in order to bring her to her death. Only someone with a screw loose would fall for it. Otherwise, who would go? Feng Poliu, do you have any thoughts? Lin Fan turned his head and asked. Naturally, he wouldn't head to Fuzhou alone. Cousin would definitely follow. If Feng Poliu went too, then he could bring him. There was strength in numbers and it would be convenient to do things. Feng Poliu was stunned as he looked at Lin Fan, saying exaggeratedly, You are serious? He had always thought that Lin Fan was joking. Even if 9 Bug Gang was just a subsidiary power of Insect Valley, their strength couldn't be underestimated. Do I look like I'm joking? Lin Fan asked. He was serious. With the current situation, 9 Bug Gang was the best choice to raise his strength. Jiang City and Yu City were 1,000 miles apart. It wasn't far, so they were at the border. Fuzhou was a large city. Even though it was far from the central dynasty, it was a truly large city. It was a shipping fortress and had abundant resources. It was a truly large city. I need to consider, Feng Poliu said. He didn't think about communicating with people related to Insect Valley. This was what he thought about after leaving Insect Valley, so he needed to consider it. Suing didn't want to hang out with this idiot. She knew that she couldn't return to 9 Bug Gang. If she did, the outcome wouldn't be good. Although her life wouldn't be in danger, it would still be problematic. So she left. Lin Fan looked at her back view and shook his head. This girl was not bad, her body was good, her face was beautiful, but she was a little timid. People who were timid just didn't make one feel like they were good. Young Master Lin, you like this girl? In my opinion, she is not bad. Family background, status, looks, etc. She is top class. Feng Polia said. I am so bored, why would I like her? Lin Fan looked at Feng Polia. What was he thinking? He actually had such thoughts, it was tough for him to accept it. Feng Polia shook his head. What were people thinking now? Suing was not bad, others probably couldn't even lick her. To Lin Fan, okay, if she was timid then so be it. He would do it himself. Especially Su Ying's tone of disbelief made him unhappy. Did she know 9 Bug Gang's strength? She made it sound like he was the weak one and that others were strong. Go back and think about it, we will head out tomorrow. Lin Fan was an impatient person and couldn't tolerate hatred for too long. He was afraid that if he had too much hatred in the future, he wouldn't be able to remember who survived. His cultivation was already at martial path grade 11. He was strong in both internal and external cultivation, but since he met the Su family old ancestor, he knew that he was still weak. The gap between the two was huge. There was a wide chasm. My cultivation is stuck here not because I lack rage points, but because I lack some special cultivation techniques. During the battle with the Yin demons, he gained many rage points, enough for him to spend for a period of time. If he was in Yu City, he wouldn't need to worry about cultivation technique. He would head to Cousin's place to take a look. Zhang Tianshan brought Liang Yongqi and Yuan Tianchu to be busy outside Jiang City. He noticed that it wasn't safe to hide it. It was easy for people to dig it out. Of course, it wasn't that they knew where the red flame stone was placed, but that it would glow at night. As long as one wasn't blind, they would dig it out. So he needed to think of a way to hide the glow such that others couldn't find it. If such a thing happened again, they would be finished. Yuan Tianchu pushed the small cart and asked, Deputy Sect Leader Zhang, was the old man that appeared the Su family old ancestor? Zwa City Su family old ancestor, you haven't seen him, right? He is an important person, even if he went to the imperial city to meet the emperor, he didn't need to kneel. The emperor even had to call him country protector. Zhang Tianshan said. So amazing. Yuan Tianchu was shocked. He had never seen the Su family old ancestor, but that Su family 7th little miss left a deep impression. Brother Liang, you were beaten up by that Su family 7th little miss, right? His question had no standard at all, it brought up that sad matter of Liang Yongqi's. That matter. Liang Yongqi didn't want to recall it, it was just too embarrassing. He was beaten up so badly that he didn't even know what was going on. From then on, his father didn't love him anymore, demoting his position. Big Brother took over. Who knew what his father and Big Brother were doing now? Maybe Big Brother made his father happy. Zhang Tianshan said, Let's not talk about the past. You are a little scheming. Little Liang is not bad. Didn't you notice that his cultivation has reached martial path grade 4, but you are still at the same spot? Those words were a huge blow to Yuan Tianchu. Oh my god! What did those words mean? How could Yuan Tianchu's cultivation not be at the same spot? During this period of time, he didn't cultivate at all, and his mind was filled with schemes and plots. Wait, scheme, as expected it was a scheme. He actually attacked from his cultivation. Now he understood why Zhang Tianshan gave Liang Yongqi's secret technique. He wanted Liang Yongqi's cultivation to improve so that he could humiliate him? But that wasn't right. Liang Yongqi was on your side, and I was neutral. Why did you think that I was on his side? That was possible, that was really possible. Since that was the case, then he could only remain calm. If he got angry, then he might really fall for it. Hayes, I have no choice. Brother Liang is talented, and I am average, so how can I compare? Yuan Tianchu said. Liang Yongqi looked at Yuan Tianchu in shock. Damn it. He didn't expect that Yuan Tianchu would actually say such words. He would actually admit that he was weaker than him? In the past, this would have been impossible. He changed. Yuan Tianchu really changed. No, how can I compare to Brother Yuan's talent? I just had nothing to do recently, so I worked hard. Liang Yongqi said anxiously. Since Brother Yuan was so humble, then naturally, he couldn't be too high profile. Okay, the two of you help out, finish it quickly and head back. When Zhang Tianshan saw the two of them being so humble, he was really not used to it. However, on a deeper level, his evaluation of the two of them was much better. Last night they dared to leave Martial Path Mountain and follow him to Jiang City, which meant that they were on the same side. This matter had elevated the relationship between everyone to a higher level. Yuan Tianchu kept silent. He felt like he was in a really dangerous situation. Liang Yongqi's sudden humility was like someone hiding a sharp knife in his sleeves that could stab someone to death at any moment. That night, Martial Path Mountain. Lin Fan got a few cultivation techniques from Cousin. Cousin's demon ape fist was not bad. When one cultivated it to a high level, the demon ape illusions would appear. If one said that it was a fist technique, then it was definitely a fist technique. But if one said that it was a body training technique, then it was a body training technique. Using the fist to train the body was really overbearing. Unmovable king body was cultivated to a high level by him, and he couldn't raise it anymore. To raise physique, he needed more body training technique. There was also a demon enforcing heart scripture that was not bad. It was on the same level as the Purple Sun 4 Saint scripture, but it had a dual cultivation effect. Take a look at the small support system. Physique 330, Martial Path Grade 11, Internal Strength 330, Martial Path Grade 11, Heart Cultivation, Purple Sun 4 Saint Scripture, Grade 25, Demon Enforcing Heart Scripture, Unlearnt Cultivation Technique, Vengeful Tiger Blade Technique, Returning to True, Bug Controlling Technique, Unlearnt, Unmovable King Body, Returning to True, Lightning Blade 4 Strokes, Returning to True, Mixed Energy Broken Jade Hand, Unlearnt, Demon Ape Fist, Unlearnt, Rage Points, 102231. The rage points that the Een demons provided were enough to raise him to Master Realm. Raise Heart Cultivation. Consumed 2000 rage points. Purple Sun 4 Saint Scripture, Grade 26. Purple Sun 4 Saint Scripture, Grade 33. He instantly reached the Great Perfection Realm. Instantly, Lin Fan felt a shocking change in his body. He activated the Purple Sun 4 Saint Scripture. Suddenly, a purple halo appeared behind Xiao Chen's head, and a purple mist revolved around his body. A shocking phenomenon occurred. Did I improve too quickly? Lin Fan was shocked by those scenes. He couldn't accept it. P.S. Thank you, Black Hood Farmer Alliance Leader, thank you. Chapter 188. Although the Purple Sun 4 Saint Scripture was left behind by the assassin in black, he already knew that such a profound mental cultivation technique couldn't have been left behind by the assassin. It was definitely left by his father. Using this, he suddenly wanted to sing a song. 1, 2, 3. Sing. My father. The person I love the most, now that he raised the Purple Sun 4 Saint Scripture to Grade 33, the purple internal strength surged like an ocean. The quality of the internal strength had a shocking change, and it was much stronger and more intense than before. When I am serious, all of you have nothing to do with me. Lin Fan was confident. He had to become strong, he had to become even stronger. After going through things, he would slowly grow. Cousin wasn't invincible, even if he was, he had to protect himself. Looking at how Cousin didn't care about his injuries to protect him, he felt that if he continued like this, he might lose someone important. He wouldn't let that happen. So, Only by killing and crippling those people who threatened the safety of the people around him could he have the right to enjoy his life. Improve. He consumed 1,000 rage points. Demon Ape Fist Basics. Demon Ape Fist, returning to true. He consumed 16,500 rage points to raise the Demon Ape Fist to the highest realm. The carefree feeling of cultivating a cultivation method to the extreme was simply too refreshing. With the current situation, it was no problem to raise his cultivation. Add points. Physique slowly increased. Now, 1 point required 600 rage points. Physique. 360, Martial Path Grade 12. When he raised it to Martial Path Grade 12, he noticed that his body felt swollen. That feeling was power. He continued to add points. What he wanted was to cultivate both internal and external cultivation, to be able to use his strongest combat strength in battle. Internal strength. 360, Martial Path Grade 12. Lin Fan felt that his strength had greatly increased. He clenched his fist. This was the feeling of power. What a waste, I don't have enough rage points to reach Master Realm. However, with the current situation, I will reach it soon. Lin Fan looked at the small support system. He was only left with 33,731 rage point. It wasn't a lot, but it wasn't little either. Since that was the case, then he would use the remaining rage points to raise the demon heart enforcing scripture. This heart cultivation technique was not bad. When Cousin used it, it was really strong and had a strong aura. If you don't act a little fiercer when you go out, others won't be afraid at all. The Devil Heart Suppressing Scripture has a total of 12 levels. The first level requires 2,000 and upgrading to the third level requires 3,000. Lin Fan's strength continued to grow. Demon Heart Subduing Scripture, 10th layer, Rage Points, 1731. Although I am still a distance away from Master, as long as I have a chance, I will definitely become a Grandmaster. Lin Fan thought that he would be able to step into Master Realm right away, but now it seemed like he was thinking too much. Su family old ancestors said that if he wanted to step into Grandmaster Realm, he would need a very, very long time. Didn't these words mean that he, Lin Fan, couldn't make it? This face had to be slapped back, and it had to be done in the shortest time possible. He didn't sleep and just packed his things. He would leave Martial Path Mountain tomorrow, and he had to be quick. Only by using every second would he be able to raise his strength in the shortest time. 9 Bug Gang, you bunch of scum, just wait for me to kill you. The next day. Feng Poliu, have you considered it? If you have, then let's head out now. If not, then I won't wait for you. Lin Fan stood in front of Feng Poliu's house and shouted. It was just too slow. He still needed to consider such a small matter. In his words, what was there to consider? There was no need at all. Feng Poliu pushed open the door and looked at Lin Fan with a stunned expression. Oh my god! This speed was just too quick. He said he would consider it yesterday, and now he wanted to leave today. The time he had to consider was just too short. At least he had to give him a few more days. Are you leaving or not? Lin Fan asked. Apart from the Een demons, who hated him now, it was 9 Bug Gang. As for the Een demons, although they were arrogant, they were destroyed by him several times. He could put aside this hatred for now. 9 Bug Gang couldn't do it. They were the ones who came to Jiang City to find trouble with him. If he didn't attack, they would think that he was afraid. He had to teach them a lesson so that they would know how terrifying things were. Let me ask you again, are you sure you want to head to 9 Bug Gang? You have to think about it. Although 9 Bug Gang is just a subsidiary power of Insect Valley, they are really strong. Feng Poliu said. He had to make it clear that the young people were just too rash. If they had some thoughts, then they would have to take action. When they faced problems, they wouldn't even have a place to cry. Nonsense, if I didn't think about it, would I pack my things? What's your situation, are you going or not? Lin Fan asked. This fellow was just so annoying. Just one sentence, Why did he have to hesitate for so long? Feng Polia thought about it and nodded. Since that was the case, then let's go. He hadn't visited Nine Bug Gang in a long time. He also heard that Nine Bug Gang didn't have any sense of belonging to Insect Valley. They formed their own sect and relied on other powers. He followed Lin Fan to Nine Bug Gang, not to help him wipe them out, but to verify something. Lin Fan was satisfied. This was a good offer from Marshall Path Mountain. 100 silver was worth it. As long as he performed well, there was a chance of the price rising. Young master, what about me? Let me go, I can take care of young master. Go Z wanted to follow. He didn't want to be separated from young master. Lin Fan said, you can stay on Marshall Path Mountain. I am going out to take revenge, not to travel. If you follow, you will be in danger. Go Z was too weak. No. One could say that Go Z had no strength. At most, he could use a blade to slash normal people. If he faced an expert, he was basically dead. Go Z wanted to draw circles on the spot. He felt that he was too weak and would only be a burden if he followed young master. How sad. He wanted to become strong, but his body didn't allow him to do so. He was helpless. Zhang Tianshan, when I am not here, you will be in charge of Marshall Path Mountain. Lin Fan said. Zhang Tianshan looked at Lin Fan and said, Sect leader, why not forget it? Going out is asking for trouble. Staying on Marshall Path Mountain is so good, we have food and drink, it is so comfortable. He didn't want the kid to leave Marshall Path Mountain and head into the turbulent pugilistic world. Especially when he faced the terrifying Nine Bug Gang. He felt that it wasn't realistic. There was a high chance that they would turn the tables on him. If he didn't do it well, things would really happen. Yuan Tianchu looked at Zhang Tianshan and smiled in disdain. Hypocrite. He was really happy. The chance was finally here. As long as Lin Fan wasn't here, he would be the Marshall Path Mountain sect leader. However, he felt that this was Lin Fan's plot. Although he didn't know how strong Nine Bug Gang was, as long as one was sane, he wouldn't say that he brought a few people to wipe out such a huge gang. How strong was he? Or how strong was he? He guessed that this was Lin Fan's excuse to observe Marshall Path Mountain. If he noticed that the situation wasn't right, he would instantly appear in front of everyone. When that happened, he couldn't think about it. He really couldn't think about it. Am I the sect leader or are you the sect leader? Don't worry about where I go, just take care of Marshall Path Mountain. This is 1,000 silver, enough for this period of time. Lin Fan took out a bill and passed it to Zhang Tianshan. Zhang Tianshan stared at the bill and his eyes opened wide. So generous? Where did he get so much money from? He didn't understand the kid. He was totally confused about how much money Marshall Path Mountain had. Anyway, he always felt that Marshall Path Mountain was poor. Who knew that the kid would take out 1,000 silver right away? Oh my god. Shocking. It was just too shocking. So rich. Yuan Tianchu looked at Lin Fan. It was obvious that he was shocked by this huge sum. If he was still in U City, he would still be the Yuan family's second young master. Naturally, he wouldn't care about such a small amount of silver. But it was different now. After leaving U City and coming to Marshall Path Mountain, he was a poor person, so poor that he didn't even buy new clothes. He looked at Lin Fan with a profound expression. He hid his emotions really well. There were many secrets that they didn't know about. If Lin Fan knew about Yuan Tianchu's rich inner world, he would definitely roar out. Could he stop thinking about it? His actions were just too cool. If he went to the toilet, would he think that he hid poison in the toilet? Of course, that was true. If Lin Fan had put on a weird expression before entering the toilet, Yuan Tianchu would have thought that he was hiding poison in the toilet. To Lin Fan, he really treated Zhang Tianshan and the others as his own people. The fact that they were able to fight the Yin demons that night showed this problem. This was why Lin Fan wouldn't be stingy towards them. As for the silver, he would definitely be the one keeping it. Talking about money would hurt relationship. Just let him raise them from behind. If you need to buy anything, I will buy it for you. Zhou Zhongmao pulled 3 horses over. These were all contributed by the bandits from Wolf Brigade. Cousin, everything is prepared. Lin Fan looked at them. I will leave Marshall Path Mountain to all of you. The moment he said that, just as he was about to lift his leg, he noticed that the 9-headed bug hugged his leg. Its 9 heads raised and looked at Lin Fan with a cute expression. To Lin Fan, this was a cute gaze, but to others, the 9-headed bug was really vicious and terrifying. You want to go too? Lin Fan said. 9 demons' 9 heads nodded crazily. It wanted to go too. It didn't want to separate from Lin Fan. Lin Fan thought about it. Bringing the 9-headed bug might be a good choice. Anyway, he was going to 9 bug gang. In front of them, he would let them see that the thing they needed was with him, but he didn't give it to them. Would they feel angry? When that happened, everyone would be furious and would want to kill him. Then, the rage points would be stable. Jump on my shoulder, let's go. Lin Fan patted his shoulder and made space for the 9-headed bug. The 9-headed bug jumped up and landed on his shoulder. It raised its 9 terrifying heads and looked into the distance. He noticed that the world had become bigger. As expected, only by standing on a giant's body could one see further. Ride! The 3 of them got on the horse and charged down the mountain without turning their heads. Pung! 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 They charged down, and the horse flipped. Chapter 189. King Wudong Camp. Oh my god, look, Zhu Xiang actually brought the bandits back. What are those boxes of things? Zhu Xiang worked hard in the camp. To climb to a higher position, he gave everything he had. He volunteered to wipe out the bandits. He didn't wipe them out, but he recruited them into the army. He also brought back the resources that the bandits stole. Even the soldiers in Zhu Xiang's hands were stunned. Till now, they didn't know how Uncle did it. He entered the bandits' home alone. On the second morning, the bandits brought the things out with Zhu Xiang. What a surprise! If they hadn't personally witnessed it, they wouldn't have believed such a thing. What did he say to the bandits? Why did they willingly submit to him? Place the resources there. Zhu Xiang instructed the soldiers and then walked towards the general. He wanted to tell him about the situation. To Zhu Xiang, these were things that needed to happen on the way forward. As long as he persevered, there would be no problems. It is him. Lu Xian came to the camp and noticed that familiar person. He frowned in confusion. Wasn't he mining stones? Why would he appear here? As the strategist by King Wudong's side, he was under huge pressure. That was because not only him, but there were other strategists who would compete with one another. Brother Lu, do you recognize him? A middle-aged man with a long beard followed Lu Xian's gaze. That was just an unassuming earl. Lu Xian smiled. I don't know him. The person who spoke to him was also one of King Wudong's strategists. If one were to talk about opponents, he was just one of them. Is that so? I heard that he volunteered to wipe out the bandit. Looking at the situation, they are really successful. It seems like he is a strong general. I can recommend him to King Wudong. The middle-aged man smiled. Lu Xian's expression was really ugly. What did he mean? If he recommended him to King Wudong, wouldn't he be making enemies for himself? Lu Xian didn't think that Zhu Xiang would be grateful to him when he climbed to a certain position. He tossed Zhu Xiang to the stone quarry to die on his own. Who knew that this fellow actually became an earl? If he knew that this would happen, he would have killed him. 3 horses galloped in the forest. The Yin demons had already moved away, and the trees returned to their original state. When the Yin demons were here, the forest was really dark and not a single ray of light could shine in. Now that the Yin demon aura wasn't infecting it, everything returned to normal. What a pity! The conflict between Lin Fan and the Yin demon couldn't be resolved. Who knew that the demon would be terrified by that sword and leave right away? Can't you just be a little more stubborn? He was very disappointed with this behavior. Young Master Lin, the journey is long, let's hurry and try to find a place to rest at night. Feng Poliu said. We'll see. Lin Fan didn't want to find a relay station to rest. He just wanted to hurry on with his journey. If he was too tired, he could just find a place to rest. Of course, it was impossible for him to be tired. He had never felt tired before. To Feng Poliu, he just wanted to understand how young Master Lin cultivated the bug controlling technique. He remembered that time when he took the wrong secret manual. He got it back in a very short time. According to the time, that was impossible. How could he cultivate the bug controlling technique to the peak in such a short time? Even if he was beaten to death, he wouldn't believe it. But the truth was placed in front of him. Even if he didn't believe it, he had to. When the sky was about to turn dark, Lin Fan's speed slowed down. The horses couldn't run anymore. From morning till now they didn't stop. Horses weren't made of iron, so it was normal that they couldn't take it anymore. Young Master Lin, there seems to be a residence ahead. Let's head there for the night. Feng Poliu said. Since there was a place to stay, then naturally, he had to stay. He didn't want to stay in the wilderness. And okay. Lin Fan was casual. He just wanted to reach Fuzhou quickly. The residence ahead didn't look like it was for civilians. It was made of wood and looked really nice. It gave off a leisurely aura. When he brought the horse close, there was a stone plaque at the entrance. Wandering Dragon Sect. Lin Fan felt that the name was familiar, like he had heard it before. Are you all spending the night here? Just at that moment, a strong kid wearing clothes that had been mended many times looked curiously at the three of them. And, spending the night? Lin Fan said. Spending the night, 5 coins per person, 15 coins for the 3 of us. The kid said. Lin Fan only had silver on him and no copper. Kid, where are your adults? Who? A rough voice spread out from within and a guy walked out. When he saw Lin Fan, he was stunned. Aren't you Martial Path Mountain sect leader Lin? Why did you come to Wandering Dragon sect? Did Deputy Sect Leader Zhang follow? Wang Yushu was surprised. Of course. He didn't have a good impression of Sect Leader Lin, but he had a good impression of Deputy Sect Leader Zhang. Lin Fan recalled who this person was. Wasn't he one of the 3 people who came to Martial Path Mountain to ask for an explanation? How can you stand at the entrance? Come, please enter. Wang Yushu welcomed him and then touched the kid's head. Go call your 2nd master and 3rd master. The kid tossed him aside. The sky wasn't dark yet. Lin Fan looked around. Isn't this a sect? Why does it look like an inn? He thought that Martial Path Mountain was old and broken. Who knew that there would be something worse than Martial Path Mountain? Wang Yushu smiled awkwardly. The sect's expenses are huge, so I earned some money to live. Zhou Zhongmao looked around warily. Even if there wasn't any danger now, he had to be careful when he went out. No one knew when danger would arrive. Lin Fan noticed that there were a lot of kids in Wandering Dragon Sect. That kid who was wearing pants and playing in the mud, what were you doing? Grabbing a bird and spraying water into the mud. You were playing in the mud, how amazing! Sect Leader Lin. Not long later, Wang Linfeng and Wang Xiaosa ran over. They didn't expect Martial Path Mountain's sect leader to actually come to Wandering Dragon Sect. This was too sudden. They didn't even have time to prepare. When they learned that Lin Fan came, the 2 of them were washing clothes at the back well. If they found out that Wandering Dragon Sect's deputy sect leader and elder were washing clothes there, wouldn't they lose all their face? Lin Fan nodded towards the 2 of them as a greeting. He didn't know what to say to the 3 of them. Also, wasn't this a sect? Why were there only the 3 of them and the rest were kids? Quickly prepare rooms for Sect Leader Lin and the others. Xiaosa, go cook and welcome Sect Leader Lin. Wang Yushu instructed. Only the 3 of them could do that. Lin Fan smiled. Sect leader Wang, there is no need to be so polite. We are just borrowing for a night, we will leave tomorrow morning. Of course, Wang Yushu said. Now that the Martial Path Mountain sect leader personally came to Wandering Dragon sect, they had to welcome him. If not, if this spread out, would their Wandering Dragon sect still have a footing among sects? Wang Linfeng went to clean up the room. Behind him was a little girl with 2 braids. Her face was red. Second Master, is this the interaction between sects? That's for sure. Your big master, that's our sect master, is currently interacting with another sect master. As the big senior sister, go and tell Gooden and the rest not to be mischievous, and throw our sect's face. Be careful of getting beaten up, Wang Linfeng said. The little girl held her head high and stuck out her chest. Her face was full of pride as she said, Yes, second master, don't worry. I will definitely teach my younger martial brothers to be honest. In the future, I also want to be as awe-inspiring as eldest master and communicate with other sect leaders. To the little fellows of Wandering Dragon sect, they had never seen other sections. Anyway, they felt like they were all in the same line and their Wandering Dragon sect was the strongest. Wang Xiaosa came to the kitchen and scratched his head in annoyance. There was nothing to welcome them. Goo goo. The hen crowed. Their Wandering Dragon sect's most valuable thing was this hen. They relied on it to lay eggs for the little things to improve their meals. But they had no choice as there was nothing to welcome them with. For Wandering Dragon sect's face, they had to kill it. Dinner. 9 Demons' appearance attracted the bunch of kids. Senior sister, what monster is that? It looks so ugly. Shush, softer. Second Master said that it is their sect's god beast. Then, where is our sect's god beast? It is in the pot. As Lin Fan listened to the conversation of these little fellas, he was exasperated. Just what sort of sect was this? Could it even be called a sect? Sect leader Lin, sorry for not being a good host. Wang Yushu smiled and then took some wine. This is the wine we brewed, it is not bad. The dish is here. Wang Xiaosa holds a big bowl. An old hen that has been stripped, unyieldingly raises its head in the bowl of floating oil and water. Please. Wang Yushu smiled. But deep down, he was really sad. Wandering Dragon sect's only hen died to the blade today. But as the sect leader, he had to treat the guests well and not lose the sect's face. The hen soup was here. The kids' gazes locked onto the table. They didn't come over, they just licked their lips and showed a yearning gaze. Lin Fan was prepared to move his chopsticks when he noticed that their gazes moved along with his chopstick. They retracted and shifted their gazes away. When they reached over, their gazes locked onto him. Sect leader Wang, let the kids eat together. Lin Fan said. Sect leader Lin, you don't have to be so polite. Just eat. Wang Yushu said. Lin Fan placed down his chopsticks. Let's eat together. Under his repeated requests, Wang Yushu called the kids over. A bunch of them surrounded the table. Let me show all of you something amazing. Lin Fan laughed. Then, he tapped the table lightly with his fingers. The hen in the bowl flew up into the air. With chopsticks in hand, with a schwa sound, there was no shadow, but the hen instantly disintegrated in the air. Then, the meat fell into everyone's bowl in an orderly manner. Wah, the children were all dumbfounded. That was amazing. Ha. Amazing, right? Lin Fan asked. The kids said in unison, amazing. The kids wolfed it down like they hadn't eaten meat in a long time. Thinking about Martial Path Mountain, it felt good. Each day they ate either bird's nest or shark fin, how luxurious. The next day, Lin Fan woke up early and placed a 10,000 silver bill on the table. He thought about it and placed another one on the table. Wandering Dragon sect entrance. Lin Fan and the others got on their horses and saw Wang Yushu run over. He cupped his fists. Sect leader Wang, thank you for your hospitality. If you have a chance, you can bring the kids to Martial Path Mountain to play. Goodbye. Ride. This time it was flat ground, and there was no flipping of the horses. Wang Xiaosao was prepared to call sect leader Lin to eat breakfast. He noticed that there was no one in the room, but there were 2 silver bills on the table. When he heard the noise outside, he chased right away. Big brother, second brother, look, sect leader Lin left this. Wang Xiaosao was shocked. Wang Linfeng looked at the bills and instantly fainted. Ah, I am fainting. Wang Yushu looked at the bills and then at sect leader Lin, whose back view couldn't be seen. His eyes turned red. Thank you. P.S. Oh right, my friend's training will be streamed on Douyu at 8, room 6453936. My friend asked me to help, but I don't know how. If all of you have time, you can go take a look at it at 8. Chapter 190. The 3 of them rushed on horseback, and rarely stopped. However, the horses weren't strong enough and couldn't run anymore, giving them a huge headache. Young Master Lin, what is the situation with Wandering Dragon sect? Feng Polio asked. He had never seen such a tragic sect. If they could even be considered a sect, then their expectations of a sect were just too low. Nothing much. Don't you think that it is a decent sect? Lin Fan smiled. He noticed that sometimes one couldn't just look at the surface. When those 3 from Wandering Dragon sect came to Martial Path Mountain, he thought that they were fools. Now, he realized that he was too shallow. Feng Polia smiled. It is indeed a decent sect, the only sect in the world. No one can replace it. The sky is about to turn dark. Let's find a place to rest. The forest ahead is better. Since leaving Wandering Dragon sect, he didn't stop. Nothing happened along the way, and everything was peaceful. These 2 consecutive days of riding caused his butt to hurt. If it was in the past, he wouldn't have asked for such pain. But it was different now. If he wanted to become strong, he had to suffer. Let's rest here. Lin Fan got off the horse and rubbed his butt. It really hurt. The surrounding environment was not bad, and just one look and one knew that there were no Een demons. A place where Een demons stayed wasn't for humans. Trees covered the sky, and there was no light at all. Young Master Lin, we seem to have forgotten something important. We actually didn't bring any dry rations. Feng Polia reacted now. That was a headache. Unfortunately, even if he thought about it now, it was too late. It is okay, we have a way. Lin Fan didn't care much about this matter. What could it be? It was just a small matter. The horse was so tired that it panicked. It knelt down to rest. Running from morning till now, it was really tiring. Lin Fan came in front of a giant tree, touching the bark and taking out the newly bought blade. Shwa! A crack appeared on the tree, and it was sliced in half. Lin Fan grabbed the tree and tossed it into the air. His understanding of blade techniques had reached a really high level. The blade light shone, and the tree that was floating in the air instantly disintegrated. Pung! 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 The tree branches fell down and were pieced together in a square manner, forming a bed. That works. Feng Polia's mouth was agape, but he was more shocked by Lin Fan's technique. He had already cultivated his saber technique to such a level? He was too strong. Cousin, bring the remaining wood over to start a fire, Lin Fan said. Then, he picked up the remaining piece of wood and used a knife to cut it into skewers. Feng Polia didn't understand what Lin Fan was doing. In any case, he just stared blankly. Zhou Zhongmao's speed was very fast, and he had already started the fire. Not long after, Lin Fan placed the wooden stick back. Next was the most important thing. Even if they didn't bring any dry rations, they wouldn't starve to death. Refresh your stats. Bug controlling technique max completion. Instantly, circles of ripple-like gray internal strength spread out from Lin Fan's body. Lin Fan sensed his surroundings and searched for living creatures. Feng Polia was familiar with this internal strength and knew that it was the bug controlling technique's internal strength. He suggested for Lin Fan not to use the bug controlling technique's internal strength. If Insect Valley found out, it wouldn't be so easy to deal with him. Suddenly, soft voices could be heard from the surroundings. Swoosh. Something seemed to be moving. This. Fong Polia's eyes opened wide. He didn't expect a few snakes to crawl over. Poochie. At that moment, the blade light flashed, and the few snakes' heads were sliced off. Let's eat barbecued snake meat tonight. Lin Fan grabbed the snake, slicing it open and releasing the blood within. He then cut it into pieces and skewered them with wooden stick. We are eating this? Fong Polia looked at Lin Fan. Oh my god, was the bug controlling technique supposed to be used like this? Was that really good? Let's eat snake meat. You don't know, not only is snake meat delicious, but it is also nutritious. It also has health benefits. Although we don't have any supplementary ingredients, it doesn't matter. It will taste good too. Lin Fan busied himself. He noticed the true effect of the bug controlling technique. In any desperate situation, as long as one knew the bug controlling technique, one would have a chance to live. He placed the skewered snake meat on the rack. Couldn't be too close, but it couldn't be too far either. Not long later, a meat fragrance spread out. Fong Polia didn't expect the snake meat to be so fragrant when it was barbecued. Lin Fan said regretfully, I was in a rush. If I knew, I would have brought some supplementary ingredients. Drip some sesame oil, some chili powder, along with a flask of wine. That taste, tsk. It is hard to imagine. The smell of the snake meat spread out. The meat was a little golden, and the skin was crispy. Although the taste would be much worse, with the current conditions, it was already not bad to have such a delicacy. Come, eat some. Lin Fan spread the wooden sticks and then took a bite. And not bad, really not bad. It was unexpectedly delicious. The snakes here were different from those on Earth. They didn't have the earthy smell, and the meat was more delicious. Perhaps this was the most special place in the world of cultivation. Not bad. Fong Poliu praised. Of course, eat quickly and then sleep. Lin Fan sliced the remaining snakes and placed them there to barbecue. The only thought he had about heading out was that he was tired. But he had no choice. To become amazing, one had to be able to bear with loneliness and take hardship. After Lin Fan finished, he laid on the wooden bed to rest. The surroundings were really quiet, and occasionally there would be the roars of wild beasts. Fong Polia sighed at how a rich young master really knew how to enjoy life, to be able to eat a meal of snake meat outside. He envied the bed he could sleep on. However, they were going to head out in the morning, so he was lazy. He just rested against a tree and closed his eyes to rest. Zhou Zhongmao didn't rest. He just sat cross-legged and closed his eyes to cultivate. As long as there was any movement around, he would wake up right away and then kill the person who threatened cousin. The sky was bright. The air in the forest is really fresh. Lin Fan stretched. It was a safe night, so how would there be so many dangers? Let's head out and continue to rush. He had no choice but to not wash his face and brush his teeth. Without water and tools, what else could he do? If he met a beauty and she told him that she had spent several days in the forest, he would kick her away and tell her not to get close. Who could take not washing their face and brushing their teeth? A few days passed. Lin Fan didn't stop, finding a place to wash up when he passed a city. He also bought some ingredients so that when he cooked in the wilderness, he could add some flavor. As they got closer and closer to Fuzhou, Fong Polia didn't dare to show his face. He bought a mask in the nearby city to wear in case people recognized him. Is there a need to be so careful? Lin Fan asked. This life was so tiring. Fong Polia said, I have no choice, it is better to be careful. If people recognize me, it doesn't matter if I am fine or not, but all of you will be dragged down. Also, try not to use the bug controlling technique. If you are noticed, it will be a huge problem. I know, how problematic. I am really curious what Insect Valley is like, for you to actually make it sound so terrifying. Lin Fan was really frightened by Feng Polia's words. He talked about Insect Valley every day, what would happen if he was noticed. He was really curious about what Insect Valley was like to actually give one a terrifying feeling. When you see it one day, you will know how terrifying Insect Valley is, Feng Polia said. Very few people dared to stay in Insect Valley, as they didn't know whether or not the bed they slept on had numerous bugs in it. I am looking forward to it. Lin Fan wanted to see how amazing Insect Valley was, but now wasn't the time. He was a little weak, and even if he met them, he would be chased by them. We are at most 2 days away from Fuzhou. Once we get there, don't let anyone target us, Feng Polia warned. He didn't understand what this kid wanted to do. To wipe out 9 bug gang with his current strength was just a dream. Even if he had a dream, he shouldn't dream about such unrealistic things. Being prepared, the 3 of them continued on their way. Lin Fan had thought about it. He had to let 9 bug gang know how strong he was. They sent people to find trouble with him, and that was already too much. He didn't want to stoop to their level, so naturally, he knew what he was doing. However, the outcome was regretful. 9 bug gang didn't know what they were doing. On the official path, 3 horses galloped towards Fuzhou. Not far away, there was a small group of people who rode in the opposite direction from Lin Fan. They were about to bump into each other. These people were dressed in the same uniform and had a cape on their bodies. The patterns on the cape were exclusive to 9 bug gang. Those who recognized the patterns moved aside. How would they dare to block people from 9 bug gang? Even hundreds of miles away, they knew about 9 bug gang's name. That was a really terrifying power. If he was too handsome and 9 bug gang targeted him, that would be a tragedy. They heard of a story. Although they didn't know if it was true or false, since it spread out, then there was a reason. There was a handsome guy who walked on the streets normally. However, when 9 bug gang saw him, they thought, why was he so handsome? They were annoyed. They didn't do anything and just waved their hands. That handsome guy's face was covered in blood and many bugs crawled out from his face. The scene was gory and terrifying, such that everyone exclaimed. That handsome guy couldn't take the fact that he had become so ugly, so he hanged himself. So to people who knew about 9 bug gang, they didn't want to offend such a person. Instantly, 2 waves of people brushed past one another. Lin Fan turned his head and so did the other. The 2 of them stared at one another, even if it was just for a blink of an eye. Both of them saw different things in one another's eyes. Hualulu. Lin Fan stopped. 9 bug gang people stopped too. The 9 bug gang leader opened his mouth. Kid, although I don't know you, I have a feeling that you are the person I am looking for. Lin Fan said, right, I have that feeling too. He felt that this thing was really magical. Chapter 191. Feng Polia recognized right away that they were from 9 bug gang. Don't ask why he was so sure. That was because their clothes were already exposed. 9 bug gang's clothes were all the same. Looking at them, they seemed to be members of the 9 bug gang assassination team. Don't misunderstand, we are just passing by. How can we be your target? Feng Polia was stunned. What was going on? They could even stop when they passed each other on horseback. Also, their conversation sounded weird. It felt like they were the person they were looking for. Why did they have so many feelings? Just go home and sleep. Do you think we are blind? What is that on his shoulder? The male's voice was really cold. Did this masked fellow really think they were blind? Feng Polia was stunned. He looked at 9 Demon who was standing on Lin Fan's shoulder, its 9 heads spinning. Those 18 eyes were lost, like they were saying, what? He nearly smacked his head in rage. Aya, what was going on? He actually forgot about such an important person. If he had known this would happen, he would have just placed 9 Demon into the cloth bag, and there wouldn't have been so much trouble. Lin Fan smiled. So you aren't just a feeling. I really have a feeling towards you. That feeling let me know that you are the people I am looking for. Could he stop bragging? Fong Poliu just wanted to ask that. They were wearing the 9-Bug Gang uniform, so what did he feel? Didn't he see it with his eyes? Let's change places and play with you? Lin Fan pointed at the small forest in the distance. Some things were only interesting in the small forest. He didn't wait for them to agree, leading the horse and walking into the forest. 9-Bug Gang assassination team's goal was to investigate the Jiang City matter and then find the 9-Bug Gang treasure. Now that the treasure was right in front of them, naturally they wouldn't let it go. Lin Fan's arrogance made the 9-Bug Gang assassination team members furious. Rage points plus 333. Rage points plus 444. The 6 experts exchanged glances with one another. Let's go, they thought that they had to rush, but who knew that they would bump into them halfway? They were really lucky. However, they didn't dare to be careless. Fong Poliu was helpless, we were exposed too quickly. We haven't even reached Fuzhou and 9-Bug Gang assassination team noticed. Luckily, there aren't many people, but who knows if there aren't 9-Bug Gang people hiding among the commoners. Perhaps they weren't here for Lin Fan. Most of them hid among the commoners and used their identities to gather more information. He really didn't expect that 9-Demon would be discovered. Just by standing on his shoulder, only a blind man would be able to see him. The grove was quiet. The 6 members of the assassination group followed behind, their eyes filled with malicious intent. The way he looked at Lin Fan and the other 2 was as though he was looking at 3 naked girls. It seemed to be saying, "Let's go to the grove and have some fun." Lin Fan turned around and said, "Hey, hurry up, don't dawdle." The 6 members of the assassination group were furious. How could they be so arrogant? When Lin Fan and the others just entered the small forest, the 6 people of the assassination group couldn't wait to take action. Insect Shadow Hand. The leader growled and leaped up. He stretched out his arms and 2 black insect arms flew out from his sleeve. These insect arms were made of insects and formed into palms that grabbed towards Lin Fan. Wherever the black insect arms flew past, the vegetation would gradually wither. It was highly toxic. "Are you so eager?" Lin Fan exclaimed. He refreshed his stats, bug controlling technique at max completion. He stood there and didn't move. The gray internal strength turned into numerous threads that covered his body. Just as the black insect arms were about to sweep in front of him, he reached out and the black insect arms stopped in front of him. Insects aren't played like this. Let me tell you how to play with them, this is the true way to play with them. Lin Fan clenched his fingers and the gray internal strength injected into the black insect arms. Those insects seemed to have tasted a delicacy and started to swell up. They became even more vicious. The black insect arms that were originally as thick as a human's arm instantly swelled up. How? I can't control them. The leader was shocked. He hollered and wanted to control these insects, but they didn't react at all, like they had broken off their connection with him. Lin Fan smiled. "Do you know why you can't control them? Because you are too weak." "What?" The leader was filled with disbelief. What the heck, this was really going to happen. Lin Fan raised his arm and then placed it down. "Feel your own insects." The arm formed by the insects spun and changed direction, rushing towards the opponent at an extremely fast speed. No. The leader wanted to run but he couldn't. His pupils constricted as the aura of death covered his body. In an instant the insect arms covered the man. It was a black patch, and one couldn't see what was going on inside. "Ah!" Screams exploded out. That was a roar of despair. However, that sound was just too short. The insects fell from his body. When all of them fell to the ground, all that was left was a black corpse. Not a single bit of flesh and blood was on it. "Young Master Lin, let's not use bug controlling technique, it isn't good," Fong Poliu said helplessly. Why didn't they listen to him? Bug controlling techniques. Internal strength suppressed 9 bug gangs. Bug controlling technique. It was normal that he couldn't control the insects. The remaining 5 members looked at Lin Fan in terror. They didn't expect such a thing to happen. Too quick. It was just too quick, and they weren't able to react at all. They retreated in fear and cold sweat dripped down. Who are you? Their methods were too familiar. It was similar to their 9 bug gangs' methods but more overbearing. The moment they made their move, they felt the insects that they had been carefully nurturing move, as if they were being led by the other party. Don't be afraid, I have no bad intentions towards you. It is just that your 9 bug gang keeps finding trouble with me, so I have no choice. I can only kill all of you to be safe. Lin Fan stepped forwards, his feet landed on the ground. The gray internal strength was like a python, sweeping along the ground. Leave, we don't know where these people came from, let's inform gang leader. They knew that they couldn't win. But it was all too late. The moment they turned around, the bugs hidden on their bodies revolted. Under the buff of the gray internal strength, they became stronger and more terrifying, instantly swallowing them. The 9-headed bug was excited. The 9 ferocious heads became even more irascible when they saw this. But very quickly, a palm landed on the 9-headed bug's head, slowly coiling around. Don't be impulsive, listen to me. Hayes, you should just chop them to death. Why did you have to use the bug controlling technique? I don't understand how you cultivated it. Without decades, one wouldn't be able to reach such a stage, or rather, one wouldn't be able to reach such a stage. Feng Poliu really didn't understand how this fellow did it. It was shocking. Lin Fan smiled. When in Rome, do as the Romans do. They like to play with bugs, so I just played with them. As for how I cultivated, that is a complicated question. Do you believe in geniuses? Does it mean that I can instantly learn any cultivation method I get my hands on? Forget it, don't say it, just treat it like I didn't ask anything. Feng Poliu waved his hands and didn't want to ask anything. How was there such a person? Even if he was beaten to death, he wouldn't believe that there was such a person. What a waste. These few fellows could have gained some rage points, but he had no choice as he had to rush. He didn't have time to talk nonsense with them, so he could only send them to the heavens. Feng Poliu said, Zhong Mao, dig a hole to bury these corpses. If people notice, they will see the problem. It won't be good for us. These are just 9 bug gangs assassination group, they aren't much. If experts are drawn over, it won't be good for us at all. Zhou Zhongmao looked at Cousin. He was waiting for Cousin to agree. When people said things to him, he would treat it as a fart. Unless Cousin said that he could smell it, then he would take the initiative to smell it. Bury them. Lin Fan nodded his head and then looked towards Feng Poliu. What you said makes sense. With our current strength, we can't beat 9 bug gang. But I am not in a rush, let's take it slow. If I knew, I would have given you an activity. Didn't you want to know whether or not 9 bug gang left Insect Valley? Although Feng Poliu didn't mention the situation in Insect Valley, he felt that Insect Valley wasn't in a good state. Even if they sealed the valley, they couldn't just leave them alone, right? There were only 2 possibilities. One was that 9 bug gang didn't leave. The other was that Insect Valley suffered a huge blow and didn't have time to bother about 9 bug gang. To him, the second possibility was more likely. Let's not worry about all this. We are close to Fuzhou, you have to hide 9 demon. If not, once we are within Fuzhou and haven't entered the city, 9 bug gang might surround us. Feng Poliu said. He really didn't expect that he actually forgot about this fellow. What was 9 bug gang searching for? Wasn't it that thing? He actually placed it on his shoulder, they were just asking to die. Lin Fan nodded his head. He did need to be careful. Very quickly, Zhou Zhongmao buried the corpses. Lin Fan pretended to be calm as he rode his horse out of the small forest. He smiled at the commoners on the official road. Like he was saying, we didn't do anything. Don't think so much, nothing really happened. As for those few people, their stomachs hurt and they found a hidden place to shit. There was no need to wait for them, they wouldn't come out. Lin Fan and the others left. Outside the small forest, there were only 6 horses waiting there in a daze. Why isn't our master out? When he passed the river, there were fishermen fishing. He spent some money to buy a bamboo basket to store fish. He placed the 9-headed bug in and covered it. From the outside, one could only see that there was something inside, but one couldn't see what it was. Zhou Zhongmao carried the basket on his back. His wariness was at its peak. As he got close to Fuzhou, he felt really uneasy. P.S. Thank you, the names here can be made up of 12 words. Tan Yun Yun, space violent bear, is the white water. Chapter 192. They were about to get close to Fuzhou. Lin Fan exclaimed. As expected from a huge city, even the nearby cities were really prosperous. Jiang City and Yu City combined couldn't compare to them. Not to mention before they even reached Fuzhou, just the official roads outside of Fuzhou were like heaven and earth. Just one look and one knew that they weren't commoners. These are disciples from various sects and are usually active in the cities around Fuzhou. Let's be low profile and not attract attention. Feng Polia said. There were many sects in the world and many powers. To them, a city like Rivertown was like a countryside and they rarely went there. Do you think Fuzhou is managed by the imperial dynasty? Lin Fan asked. Feng Polia said, on the surface it is, but in truth it isn't. 9 Bug Gang is really strong in Fuzhou and has totally controlled it. Even if the officials from the imperial dynasty go there, they are just decorations. Fuzhou was different from Jiang City. Jiang City's officials were far away and were controlled by the local rich families. As for Fuzhou, 9 Bug Gang was too strong and the officials were controlled too. But maybe to give face to the imperial dynasty, 9 Bug Gang allowed officials to handle cases here. But as long as it concerned 9 Bug Gang, those officials had no power at all. Is the imperial dynasty so cowardly? Lin Fan exclaimed. A country actually allowed 9 Bug Gang to do what they wanted. What were they afraid of? Feng Polia said. It isn't that they are cowardly, but they worry too much. Some things aren't as simple as they think, it is really complicated. How is it so easy to clear it out? Lin Fan didn't agree with what Feng Polia said. In my eyes, it is due to the weak and strong. If they were really strong, they could just sweep over and wipe out 9 Bug Gang in one night. His words made sense, but to Feng Polia it was like a joke. Young Master Lin, are you kidding me? Lin Fan saw Feng Polia's expression and smiled calmly. In the end, no one understood him. There was nothing in the world that couldn't be solved. When there were people who didn't dare to move and felt that it would affect things, it wasn't that they were strong, but that they were too weak and thought too much. Scram, all of you scram. At that moment, someone scolded from behind. Along with that was the sound of horse hooves. Lin Fan and the others stepped aside. The caravan sped away. One of the carriages was piled high with boxes and tied up with a rope net. What is 9 Bug Gang doing? Feng Polia looked at the carriages in confusion. Who cares about what they are doing? Come, let's follow them and kill them on the way. Lin Fan followed them impatiently. They were still a distance away from Fuzhou. 2 days was more than enough. Hey! Don't be rash. Feng Polia chased. My dear young Master Lin, why are you so impulsive? Can't we just go peacefully? He followed Lin Fan to Fuzhou. He didn't really want Lin Fan to be rash and wipe out 9 Bug Gang. He wanted to bring him to see 9 Bug Gang's strength locally. If he knew that he couldn't beat them, he would leave calmly and not think about so many unrealistic things. However, judging from the current situation, that was clearly not the case. He really wanted to make a move. Was he really that powerful? At night, in the forest about 200 li away from Fuzhou, 9 bug gang's carriages were resting here and arranging for people to be on the lookout. Towards 9 bug gang's confidence, they didn't think that anyone would dare to attack here. However, they still had to do what they had to do. Pay attention and look around. Don't move alone. The person who spoke carried 2 blades on his back and stared coldly at everyone. Yes. Everyone replied. Suddenly, the sound of horse hooves spread out from the distance. Who? Zhou Chaosen placed his hands on his blade and looked around with a sharp gaze. The people around got up and locked onto the depths of the darkness. Using the moonlight, they noticed that someone was getting close. Zhou Chaosen hollered, 9 bug gang is doing things, if you don't want to die then scram. Slowly, the sound of horse hooves got closer and closer. Zhou Chaoshen's face turned darker and darker. Did he not care about what he said? Kung. He pulled out the blades on his back and held them in his hands. He stared at the person getting close. If you dare to get close, you will die. Zhou Chaosen raged. The other 9 bug gang members all took out their weapons. They didn't believe that anyone dared to stop 9 bug gang's goods here, unless they were sick of living. Release the signal. Zhou Chaosen said softly. Is there a need? The gang members asked. Zhou Chaosen said coldly. They know that we are from 9 bug gang and still dare to come. They are either fools or confident. I believe that they are confident, so naturally they aren't weak. Just in case, release the signal and let the surrounding divisions send people over. His words made sense. The gang members took out something that looked like a firecracker and pulled a string at the end. With a ping, fireworks rose into the sky. In the dark sky, it formed a multicolored bug. It didn't dissipate for a long time and lasted for a long time. Feng Poliu raised his head and said, This is 9 bug gang's signal, let's leave. If not, when they come, it will be problematic. We can make it, we have enough time, Lin Fan said. Very quickly, when Lin Fan and the others appeared in front of them, Zhou Chaosen noticed that there were only 3 of them and was shocked. He said with an unfriendly tone, Who are you? Just 3 people dared to get close to them. There was a problem, there was definitely a problem. We aren't anyone, we just want to kill you and stop your goods. Lin Fan smiled. His calm expression made Zhou Chaosen and the others furious. Rage points plus 555. Rage points plus 444. We are from 9 bug gang, we are transporting 9 bug gang's goods. If you dare to stop us, you won't be able to leave Fuzhou. If you know your place and scram, we can act like we don't know you. But if you insist, then you will bear the consequences. Zhou Chaosen didn't attack, like he was delaying time and waiting for reinforcements to arrive. Stalling for time? Lin Fan laughed. Then, his expression turned serious. Kill! He came to Fuzhou from so far away to slowly wipe out 9 bug gang. Moreover, from what he heard and saw recently, he noticed that 9 bug gang people weren't good people. They wouldn't show mercy when they killed. He didn't care so much, he just had to kill. Kill. Zhou Chaosen hollered in rage. He held his blade and struck towards Lin Fan. The gang members behind him roared in rage. Black Dragon Blade Technique. He hollered, the blades in his hands were slowly dyed black. This was caused by special internal strength exploding out. A fierce aura burned on the blade. Pung! Lin Fan raised his hand, the blade in his hand blocking his attack. Who are you? Zhou Chaosen hollered. He definitely wasn't a nameless person. To be able to block his Black Dragon Blade technique so easily, he had seen many people, but he had never seen this guy in front of him. He hollered. The black internal strength formed into a vicious python that wanted to swallow Lin Fan. However, Lin Fan's body gave off strong fluctuations such that he was unable to get any closer. You talk a little too much. Lin Fan's lips curled into a grin as he jerked his arm slightly. Instantly, a massive amount of power burst forth and pushed the other party away. Your blade technique is too weak, try mine. Lin Fan hollered. He held the blade with both arms and opened his legs. He tilted his body and slashed. A crescent blade energy exploded. And Zhou Chaoshan's expression changed. That blade was just too quick. He raised his hands and the blades merged together to block in front of him. Poochie! Everything happened too quickly. That blade broke his blades and also slashed his body. He didn't even react at all. As expected, I am really strong. Maybe only Master Realm can fight me. Lin Fan exclaimed. The feeling of becoming stronger felt really good. When he faced enemies, he basically didn't need to speak much. He also didn't need to tire himself out from fighting them. Why didn't he feel it in the past? Maybe this was why a greenhouse would make one so weak. Zhou Chaoshen didn't understand even when he died. How could he be killed so easily? He didn't even know who the enemy was. The other 9 bug gang leaders were dealt with by Cousin and Feng Poli. The gang members who died to Feng Poli were blessed. Those who died to Zhou Zhongmao were really tragic. None of them had a complete corpse. In Cousin's words, he didn't know whether or not they were dead, so it was better to kill them. Even if they didn't die, they wouldn't be able to hold on. Young Master Lin, let's go. Feng Poli rushed. Lin Fan walked in front of the carriage and opened the net. He smashed the lock and opened the box. He noticed that there were treasures inside. Even at night there was a bright glow. Oh my God, how much silver is this? He didn't dare to imagine. He had never seen so much money in his life. From this, one could see how shocking 9 bug gangs' wealth was. Cousin, pull the carriage and let's go, Lin Fan said. He wanted to wait here for 9 bug gangs' reinforcements to arrive, but forget it. Who dared to guarantee that there wouldn't be experts among the reinforcements? He didn't want to be surrounded by experts before he even did anything. That would be a huge loss of face. Young Master Lin, we can't bring the silver away. Feng Polio was helpless. He definitely couldn't bring the silver away. Unless he went back the way he came, there would be a chance. If not, there was no chance. Don't you like to gamble? There are so many treasures, just a little is enough for you to fight for months. Lin Fan wouldn't leave the treasures behind. Since he noticed it, even if he couldn't bring it back, he wouldn't let 9 bug gang find it. Feng Polio retorted, I was comprehending life, how could I like to gamble? Lying through his teeth, even Lin Fan felt embarrassed for him. Before he left his name and also a handsome portrait for 9 bug gang. Feng Polio was stunned by Lin Fan's actions. What was he doing? Wasn't it dangerous enough? To Lin Fan, if he didn't know who he was, would he have rage points? Chapter 193. After a long while. Ahead, it is just ahead. A huge group rushed over. They were members of the 9 bug gang division. When they saw the signal, they came right away. Naturally, they needed a lot of time to get here. What a thick stench of blood. The leader frowned. His hair was white, his eyebrows were white, and even his face was terrifyingly white. Even the white-browed Eagle King had to exclaim in front of him. He was even whiter than him. The man was the person in charge of the division. When he saw the signal from the headquarters, he personally brought people to support. But looking at the situation, it was too late. When the 9 bug gang people saw the situation, their eyes opened wide. This was just too tragic. Who did it, to actually be even more vicious than their 9 bug gang? There weren't many complete corpses. The rest were split up in pieces, and it was tough to piece them all back together. White Demon walked in front of a corpse, his fingers pressed against his nose. He took in a deep breath, and it was obvious that he couldn't accept it. This corpse was split into 2. This corpse was definitely done by Lin Fan. From the blood on his face, he recognized who it was. A deputy hall head from the headquarters. He was in charge of transporting the silver back to the headquarters. There were only some horses there. As for the carriage that transported the silver, it had disappeared. Something is going to happen, White Demon muttered. His face was dark and sunken. If something happened in the area he was in charge of, he wouldn't be able to answer. Which bastard did it? If he found out, he would torture him to death. Suddenly, White Demon noticed a portrait at the side. He picked it up, and on it was a face. He was certain that he had never seen the person on it. Then, he saw the name left on the tree. Lin Fan. White Demon was thinking about where did this person come from to dare to behave so arrogantly in 9 Bug Gang's territory. Moreover, he actually killed the deputy hall head in the territory he was in charge of and stole the silver. Obviously, he was extremely daring. Sect leader, there are traces of the carriage wheels rolling over here. They went in that direction. One of the members surveyed the surroundings and shouted after discovering the clues. That's right. Chase, we have to get the silver back, White Demon said fiercely. Such a thing hadn't happened in a long time. Now that it suddenly happened, he didn't know what to do. White Demon and the others followed the path of the carriage and searched. After a long time, they found the carriage in front of them. Sect leader, the silver is all gone. The sect members stepped forward and opened the chest. It was empty, not even a single tael of silver. White Demon frowned. Who did it? How could he walk so fast with so much silver? He thought of the restless small forces around him. Something was not right. Those small forces were just trying to survive in the cracks. They didn't have the guts. A few days later, on the huge ship on the Fuzhou River. Oh, you're saying that my wealth was robbed by an unknown person in your territory, and even Zhou Chaoxing was chopped in half by a saber? 9 Bug Gang leader's expression was calm, his tone was calm, but it gave off a chilling cold intent. White Demon knelt on one knee and his forehead was covered in cold sweat. Gang leader, when I brought people there, it was already over. The carriage with the silver was stolen. He knew that the rage in gang leader's heart was burning. No one dared to offend 9 Bug Gang. Now, not only did someone offend them, but he did it in their territory. That was like slapping 9 Bug Gang's face in front of them. Lin Fan. The 9 Bug Gang leader's fat body made it hard for him to move. He muttered this name, it was really foreign, he had never heard of such a person. He picked up the portrait. He is a handsome brother. It is good to feed the bugs. Although he was talking about someone else, his words terrified everyone in the room. If one said that the most terrifying person in 9 Bug Gang, it was naturally this gang leader. What a little slut who deserves to die 10,000 times for her crimes. Find her and bring her to me. Remember, if you can't find him in 3 days, I will feed you all to the bugs. Scram. Instantly, the higher-ups in the cabin all backed out. How would they dare to stay here? If the gang leader didn't think it through, he might have really crippled them. The fat gang leader was feeling really sad now. His Suing had left for a long time and hadn't returned. He really missed her. In the past, he was satisfied just looking at her, but now that he couldn't see her for such a long time, he panicked. Gang leader. A devilish girl leaned on his body. The fat was disgusting to others, but she was used to it. She could feel warmth, peace of mind, power, and wealth from the fat. Of course, none of these were important. She actually loved fat the most. The gang leader grabbed the woman's head with his fat and wide hand and pressed it down. Tell me, why doesn't Suing have such a weird feeling towards me? Tell me. No one spoke, there was only moaning. Don't you understand a girl's heart? Why aren't you speaking? Do you think that I am not a gentleman? Speak, tell me. If you don't speak, then it means that you agree. You really hurt my heart. Pung. Gang leader used too much strength, causing the girl's head to smash into his fat, causing it to explode. Fresh blood scattered all over the ground. Gang leader looked at his hand that was covered in blood and cried. His face was covered in tears. Even if you die, you aren't willing to tell me? Didn't you say that you loved my fat? As expected, women don't like fat people, They only like violent men. The guard hiding in the dark. His body trembled. Gang leader was too violent. Moreover, he was sickly violent. Suddenly, the guard in the dark felt like there was someone behind him, but when he looked at where gang leader was, there was no one at all. A drop of sweat fell from his forehead. What was he doing? A dark and terrifying voice spread into his ears. From your heart, I can feel your fear and disgust towards me. Are you disgusted by the fat on my body? Gang, before he said anything, he noticed that gang leader opened his mouth. It was as big as a water tank, 2 rows of sharp teeth were terrifying. Poochie! Fresh blood spurted. From the shadows, one could see that the guard's body was swallowed. There was also water flowing like a fountain. Wah, that is majestic. Lin Fan and the others looked at the scenes in front of them and were shocked. They had never seen such a majestic scene. They had already arrived in Fuzhou, but they didn't enter the city. They stood on the shore and looked at the scenery. That night, Fuzhou was brightly lit, flowers bloomed. The huge Fuzhou looked really beautiful under the light. One couldn't tell that this place was as terrifying as what Feng Polia said. Especially that giant ship which stopped on the river surface, it was really majestic. Too huge, he didn't know what words to use to describe it. If he had to describe it, it was thousands of miles long. It wasn't many ships connected together, but just one giant ship. It was really majestic and majestic. Feng Poliu is right, 9 Bug Gang is really strong. To be able to have such strength, they definitely weren't weak. But regretfully, I have my eyes on you. Although I can't wipe you out in a short time, targets that I have my eyes on won't have a good ending. Young Master Lin, it is useless even if you bury the silver there. Feng Poliu couldn't understand Lin Fan's actions. Why did he want to leave his name and portrait? Lin Fan wouldn't tell him that while they were talking, he had received a few thousand rage points. Could he tell him that? Lin Fan smiled. Who says it is useless? Once 9 Bug Gang is wiped out, we can dig out the silver. The thought is good, but the reality is cruel. I think the silver will rest here. Feng Polia said and then looked at Lin Fan. What do you want to do next? Leave the portrait, maybe there are people checking at the city gate. Moreover, I don't recommend you to enter. If you are noticed, then you won't be able to leave. I am not joking. 9 Bug Gang is really strong. Even with me here, we might not be able to retreat safely. Feng Polia was serious, he wasn't joking. Lin Fan thought about it. I am thinking, don't rush. Feng Poliu totally respected Lin Fan. Since he came to Fuzhou to wipe out 9 Bug Gang, then didn't he think about what to do? Or should he just take it one step at a time? Suddenly, Lin Fan looked towards the shore. There seems to be people fighting there. Feng Polia looked over. He was used to such things and wasn't surprised. Let's go take a look. Lin Fan rode the horse and headed into the distance. Zhou Zhongmao followed behind. There were many corpses on the shore. It was obvious that both sides were in an intense battle. You dare to attack us? Yang Wu was injured. His gaze was sharp as he stared at 9 Bug Gang in rage. 9 Bug Gang didn't reply to Yang Wu's words and attacked instead. It was obvious that they wanted to kill them here. As a member of the Imperial Dynasty's secret department, Yang Wu had been investigating King Wudong. He found Fuzhou but didn't expect 9 Bug Gang to notice and chase him all the way here. At this moment, a middle-aged man held a sword and covered the wound on his shoulder. He said solemnly, Yang Wu, bring the people and leave, I will open a path for you. After that, the remaining people gathered around Yang Wu. All of them had quite a number of injuries on their bodies. Some of them even had bugs crawling in their flesh and blood. One had to be careful when fighting 9 Bug Gang, otherwise, it was hard to say that nothing would happen. Sir, leave, we will cover for you. Yang Wu looked around warily. His face was covered in sweat. The situation wasn't good, they couldn't leave at all. Can you all leave? In the darkness, a dark and sunken voice spread out. Instantly there were screams. Yang Wu looked at his good friend who suddenly cried out. Who knew when his friend's body was covered in bugs? Instantly, he fell to the ground and was no longer breathing. Only those bugs crawled around in his flesh and blood. Those damn, disgusting things that one couldn't defend against. P.S. Recommend a book, Hidden of Nanshan. If you are interested, you can take a look. The author is called Sherwen. I usually pronounce it as Wensher. Chapter 194. Zhao Xianghe stared at the person who walked out from the darkness and his expression changed. 9 Bug Gang, Assassination Team Deputy Ing Jiu. At first glance, he recognized this ordinary-looking middle-aged man in front of him. He had a smile on his face, and he was smiling so much that he couldn't even open his eyes. This was the true top expert of 9 Bug Gang. Zhao Xianghe, I let you live in the past, so why did you come to die? Although the imperial dynasty is strong, if you die in Fuzhou, no one will take revenge for you. Ing Jiu's voice was dark and sunken, totally different from his smile. Ing Jiu, do you really want to kill us? Zhao Xianghe knew that he couldn't leave. Ing Jiu's appearance cut off their path of survival. It was extremely difficult to escape from his hands. Yang Wu was still in deep thought about the death of his companions. He didn't expect 9 Bug Gang to be such a terrifying existence. He was tasked by the imperial dynasty to investigate King Wudong's rebellion. He found out that King Wudong was related to 9 Bug Gang, so he came to take a look. Who knew that before they entered Fuzhou, 9 Bug Gang would kill them? Half of them died and they weren't their match at all. Even if he revealed his identity as a member of the Imperial Court's secret department, it would be useless. It was like they wanted them to die. Ing Jiu had a smile on his face as he unleashed his inner energy. He took a step forward and punched out. His inner energy condensed into a fist that smashed towards Yang Wu and the others. Zhao Xianghe was shocked. He raised the sword in his hand and sword energy swept forwards. It clashed with the fist and was shattered. He panicked and held his sword in front of his chest. Pung! The blade bent. Zhao Xianghe's face flushed red. He wasn't Ing Jiu's match at all. He retreated and then spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. Is your Imperial Dynasty secret department sick? You sent small fries to Fuzhou. Are you looking down on 9 Bug Gang? Do you think we are blind and can't notice your actions? Ing Jiu smiled. When they just entered Fuzhou, they already knew their whereabouts. They just didn't attack and wanted to see what these people wanted to do. Zhao Xianghe looked at him. You planted a spy beside us? Ha! Spy, our 9 Bug Gang doesn't care about such boring method. If I say that your Imperial Dynasty secret department belongs to our 9 Bug Gang, would you believe me? Ing Jiu's expression remained unchanged. It was impossible to tell which of his words was true or which was false. Zhao Xianghe didn't say anything else. The other party was trying to obscure his conjecture. There had to be spies within, otherwise, how could 9 Bug Gang be so clear about their movements? Before he even entered Fuzhou, he was intercepted outside. If it wasn't a spy who leaked his tracks, he wouldn't believe it even if he was beaten to death. I'll hold him back later. You guys leave if you can. Zhao Xianghe no longer held any hope. He only hoped that 1 or 2 of them could escape, even if it was just one. Ing Jiu said with a smile, Don't put up a futile resistance. Do you think they can escape? Yang Wu had never felt that death was such a terrifying thing. It was just that he was too indignant. He was actually betrayed by his own people. Fuzhou was rotten internally, some officials were taken over, and even colluded with 9 Bug Gang. The Imperial Dynasty wouldn't believe these officials. But these officials had other uses. They represented 9 Bug Gang to interact with other city officials, to form a giant net of benefit. It greatly affected the interests of the Imperial Dynasty. Okay, it is about time. It is time to send all of you on your way. Zhao Xianghe, in the next life, be more observant and don't be blind. The moment he said this, just as Ingjiu was prepared to attack, he was shocked by the movement around. The snort of the horse stunned both sides. Who came? Lin Fan and the other two rode on their horses and looked for a while. Seeing that they attracted attention, they felt a little embarrassed. They definitely scared people. Continue, I am just passing by. Lin Fan waved his hands and said. Feng Poliu asked him whether or not he needed help. Lin Fan felt that Feng Poliu had too little experience in society. Didn't he see the weapons in their hands? Those who could fight weren't good people. It wasn't good to join in like a lunatic. Who knew? He might even be used by them. Wasn't it good to watch a show? It was fun and exciting. Ingjiu looked at the three of them and said coldly, Who are you people? We are here to watch the show, don't worry about us. Do what you need to do, it has nothing to do with us, Lin Fan said. But saying that was asking for a beating. Who would say such words? As expected. Rage points plus 999. Rage points plus 444. Peak rage points appeared. Did that mean that they wanted to kill him? Till now, he didn't understand what the increase in rage points had to do with. Actually, he didn't care. As long as he had it, then nothing was a problem. Zhao Xianghe opened his mouth. 3 good men, we are from the Imperial Dynasty and hope that you can help. In the future, we will thank you. I am not interested. Lin Fan waved his hands to reject. Those words made one feel uncomfortable. Why did he have to report where he was from? Like when cousin told the Yin demons that he was his cousin and that his cousin's father was Lin Wani. Did the Yin demons hold back? No. Instead, it became even more intense and terrifying than before. Zhao Xianghe didn't expect that the 3 of them would reject him so quickly. It seemed like they weren't from 9 Bug Gang, but why did they reject him? It wasn't that he hadn't encountered young geniuses in the past, and many of them had drawn their blades to help when they saw injustice on the road. But now, it caused him to be speechless. Deputy Head, we don't know where these people came from. Someone said softly. Isn't this bullsh*t? Even they knew that they didn't know where they came from, so how could he not see it? He suddenly realized. Recently, many things happened in Fuzhou. Treasures were stolen, Head Su's whereabouts were unknown, the assassination group members were killed, even Zhou Chaoxing was sliced into half. Why were there so many things happening? Yang Wu noticed that the guy on the horse was familiar. He then looked at the honest-looking Zhou Zhongmao. He really looked familiar. Suddenly, he remembered. Brother Lin, is that you? Yang Wu shouted. Lin Fan looked at Yang Wu. He couldn't remember who this person was. You are? He really didn't remember where he had seen him before. Yang Wu wasn't angry, instead, he tried his best to help Lin Fan recall. Brother Lin, we met once at the inn. You even helped us burn the map. You said that such an important thing should be destroyed. Since I heard Brother Lin's words, I had a deep feeling about it. And there was such a thing. Lin Fan recalled that such a thing did happen, but he didn't have much of an impression of it. Yang Wu, I am Yang Wu. Yang Wu patted his chest and wanted Brother Lin to remember who he was. Zhou Zhongmao looked at Yang Wu and then whispered to his cousin, Cousin, I remember such a person. We met at the inn, and he even attacked King Wudong's men. Cousin, now that you mention it, I remember. I really can't remember him. Lin Fan nodded his head and slowly recalled. He finally remembered such a person. Brother Lin, please help us this time. We will definitely repay this kindness. Yang Wu hollered. To them, their only hope was right in front of them. If they missed it, then they wouldn't have another chance. Ingjiu said, The 3 of you, don't be a busybody. This is 9 Bug Gang's matter. If you help, then don't think about leaving this place. Cousin, he is threatening me. Lin Fan pointed at Ingjiu. He was really annoyed. Cousin, let me beat him up. Zhou Zhongmao couldn't take it anymore. No matter whether or not he could beat him, As long as cousin was unhappy, he had to raise his fists and fight. Lin Fan stopped his cousin and then jumped up. Let me take a look. Kung. He pulled out his blade, his muscles swelled, and internal strength injected into the blade. Lightning blade 4 strokes exploded out. Blade energy pressed forwards, and the dark sky was lit up by the lightning. Very strong. Ingju nodded his head. He pressed down with his palms, and energy covered his body. Pung! The blade slashed onto the energy, and it shook slightly. There was no result. Not bad, unfortunately, your strength is lacking. Ingju praised. What are you acting for? After Lin Fan slashed out, he hollered. His physique strengthened a little, and his strength gathered once more. He then slashed out with the strongest blade of the lightning blade 4 stroke. This blade was even more terrifying than before, and even more shocking. Small tricks. Ingju didn't care at all. Energy wrapped around him. He felt like he couldn't be defeated. Pung! When the blade landed, it caused Ingju's energy to be a little unstable. Ingju was shocked. He directly exploded out with even more terrifying internal strength to break the blade. How amazing! Lin Fan shook his head. He was much stronger than him, but he didn't care. He said towards Feng Poliu, You fight him, I will find someone else. Avoiding the strong and picking the weak. That was his usual style. If he couldn't beat him, then so be it. Next time when he was stronger, he would take revenge. As for now, he would just find someone weaker than him to bully. Feng Poliu wore a mask, so no one could recognize who he was. He was helpless towards Lin Fan's words, but he had no choice. He could only fight. From the short clash, he could see that Lin Fan had initial Grandmaster cultivation. He was a realm away from him, 4 small realms. Moreover, there was a huge gap between Martial Path Grade 12 and Master Realm. How could it be so easy to cross? You give me a familiar feeling. Ingju's smile retracted as he stared right at Feng Poliu. Feng Poliu didn't say anything and attacked right away. Honglong. The battle between the two of them was not a simple exchange of moves and technique. Instead, it was an invisible collision of internal energy. Senior brother, is it you? Ingju transmitted his voice over. He was familiar with his moves and felt like it was the same as the person in his mind. Feng Poliu didn't reply. He felt helpless, he could even recognize him. My dear junior brother, you are a talent. Senior brother, I am junior brother Yenjiu. Ingju transmitted his voice. He noticed that although Lin Fan's attacks were fierce, he held back. Right. He had to be senior brother. Leave. Ingju hollered. His body disappeared into the darkness. When the 9 Bug Gang disciples saw that the deputy of the assassination group had fled, they panicked and fled. Lin Fan slashed a 9 Bug Gang member to death. What is going on? It hasn't even started. Chapter 195. Let's go, don't stay for long in case 9 Bug Gang arrives. Feng Poliu pulled Lin Fan away. Zhao Xianghe felt very embarrassed. He had asked for help, but the other party had ignored him. In the end, it was Yang Wu who had asked for help. Follow me, Zhao Xianghe said. Feng Poliu frowned. Follow you? Where are you going? I have a secret passage that leads into the city. Zhao Xianghe did not give up. He still wanted to enter the city. Feng Poliu looked at him like he was looking at a fool. It was already at such a time, and he still wanted to enter the city. Was his brain kicked by a donkey? Are you really not afraid of death? 9 Bug Gang has seen what you look like, so don't think about moving around in the city. He had to remind these people. Was he really that immature? It was a miracle that he was able to survive until now. He did not have the strength, yet he dared to be so debauched. We have our ways, Zhao Xianghe said. It just so happens that I'm also about to enter the city. Let's go. Lin Fan came to Fuzhou to find 9 Bug Gang. After all this, he realized that 9-Bug Gang was really amazing. He took back what he had said. He needed some time to wipe out 9-Bug Gang, but it wouldn't take too long. He just needed to slow down. Somewhere outside the city wall. Seeing that there was no one around, Zhao Xianghe carefully peeled away the soil, revealing a hidden compartment. He then lifted it, and it turned out to be a passageway. When did you dig a tunnel in Fuzhou? Feng Polia looked at Zhao Xianghe in shock. Unbelievable, really unbelievable. The key was that people from 9-Bug Gang hadn't noticed him. This passageway has existed for a long time. Zhao Xianghe didn't say too much. Some things were meaningless if they were said too much. Moreover, this was the first time he had met these people. Naturally, some things could not be said. Feng Polia thought about it. It seemed like the Imperial Dynasty wanted to attack 9-Bug Gang. He didn't notice it usually, but they were searching for a chance in the dark. That was true. When he left Insect Valley, 9-Bug Gang didn't dare to be so arrogant. So many years passed, Insect Valley was closed and 9-Bug Gang had no one to manage them. For them to develop to such a stage was shocking. Let's go. Let's get to the city as soon as possible in case someone passes by and discovers this passageway, Zhao Xianghe said. Everyone entered the passageway. The passageway was very spacious, but it was a little dark. However, for those with high cultivation bases, the darkness was not a problem. After walking for a long time, they finally reached their destination. Zhao Xianghe opened the wooden board and everyone walked out. This was a room, and the entrance to the passage was on the bed. There was no one inside or outside the house. The courtyard was neither too big nor too small. It was obvious that it had been prepared beforehand. Zhao Xianghe made the bed, and after he couldn't see any flaws, he looked at them. 3 good men, let me introduce myself. I am Zhao Xianghe. I belong to the Imperial Dynasty's secret department and am in charge of investigating the connection between 9-Bug Gang and King Wudong. These people are my men, I didn't expect that. Sigh. Zhao Xianghe was a little sad. There were a total of 12 of them, and in the end, only 4 of them were left. Their losses were heavy. But since he entered the Imperial Dynasty's secret department, he was prepared. 9-Bug Gang is plotting with King Wudong? Feng Polio asked. As he guessed, he was thinking about whether or not 9-Bug Gang betrayed Insect Valley. Looking at the situation, the possibility was high. We don't know the specifics, so we came to Fuzhou to investigate this. Zhao Xianghe didn't say what he wanted to say. Although he was here to investigate how far King Wudong and 9-Bug Gang were. But the key was that the Imperial Dynasty wanted to attack 9-Bug Gang. King Wudong's rebellion wasn't a huge matter, but based on the news he got, 9-Bug Gang was trying to sow discord. They were trying to use King Wudong to achieve their true goal. Zhao Xianghe could see that these people weren't on the same side as 9-Bug Gang. But it was best to hide things. If too many people knew, it would be leaked. He was thinking about something now. Who was the spy? Of course, the spy wasn't one of the 4 remaining. Apart from him and Yang Wu, the other 2 couldn't be either. He personally picked them out. Even if they were, then what awaited them were people from 9-Bug Gang, and not just empty. As for Ying Jiu saying that the secret department higher-ups were spies, he needed to think about it. It was possible. Right, this is a disguise liquid. Rub it on your hands and then on your face. It can change your face shape, but it can only last for a day. If you head out, it is best if you apply it. Zhao Xianghe passed a small bottle to Lin Fan. The sky is dark, so we definitely won't be able to move. Let's find a room to rest. Okay. Lin Fan nodded his head. Entering Fuzhou was half a success. They had to do the rest themselves. Since he couldn't wipe them out, then he had to let them know how helpless the outcome of offending him was. When Lin Fan walked out of the room, Yang Wu followed to thank him for saving him. Zhao Xianghe closed the door. He was thinking about where the 3 of them came from. One of them wore a mask and was the strongest. His background was unknown, so who knew where he came from? As for the remaining two, he had no idea. Yang Wu seemed to know one of them, so he could ask him later. Within the room, Feng Polia sighed, "Young Master Lin, we shouldn't have come here. Fuzhou is filled with 9 bug gang's eyes and ears. It is impossible to do some things, much less wipe them out." "It is okay, since we can't wipe them out, then we can't. We aren't in a rush." Lin Fan was really casual. He wasn't in a rush to do anything huge. Moreover, since he was here, if he turned back now, then wouldn't he have come for nothing? It is best if we don't have too much contact with those people. They seem like people with short lives. Feng Polia said. Lin Fan blinked. Is that okay? Just one look and you say that they are short-lived. Luckily, they didn't hear it, otherwise they would have problems with you. Feng Polia shook his head and didn't say much. If they hadn't met them, they would have died. He was thinking about something. Why was Junior Brother in 9 Bug Gang? After he left Insect Valley, Junior Brother was still there. After so many years, he actually bumped into him in 9 Bug Gang. I will rest first. Feng Polia left. He had to go back and think about it. Cousin, you should rest too, Lin Fan said. He released 9 Demon. The little fellow was locked up for so many days and was really tired. He refreshed its stats, fed it the special internal strength of the bug controlling technique to make the 9-headed bug happier. This little thing grew really quickly at the start, but now it was a little slow. He looked at the small support system. Rage points, 20391. A decent number, as expected, he earned it the fastest. The rage points now definitely couldn't raise his cultivation to peak Master Realm, but he could try to see how big the difference was between Master Realm and Martial Path Grade 12. Add points. Consumed a lot, 1 point actually needed 1,000 rage points. Add 1 point to physique, add 1 point to internal strength. Instantly, something happened to the small support system. His stats changed. Physique, 361 initial master, internal strength, 361 initial master, heart cultivation, Purple Sun 4 Saint Scripture, grade 33, Demon Heart Enforcing Scripture, grade 10 cultivation technique, Vengeful Tiger Blade technique, returning to true, Bug Controlling technique, basics, Unmovable King Body, returning to true, Lightning Blade 4 strokes, returning to true, Mixed Energy Broken Jade Hand unlearnt, Demon Ape Fist, returning to true, Rage Points, 18391. He felt a shocking change in his body. 2 internal strength Cs were clashing with his Ren and Du meridians. One of the inner energy came from below the middle pole and flowed through the abdomen, up to the guanine, to the throat, to the mouth, to the face, and into the eyes. An extremely cold chi appeared out of nowhere. This was opening up the Ren meridian, opening up the Yin meridian ocean. The other one came from the bottom of his stomach, going up to his feng fu, entering his brain, head, forehead, and nose. An extreme yang fire burned in his body. This was opening up the Du meridian, opening up the Yang meridian ocean. Lin Fan didn't dare to be careless. He sat cross-legged and felt that those scenes were a little scary. He calmed down the 2 Yin and Yang energies. The increase in internal strength was much greater than before. He just added a little. He had just entered initial Master Realm and hadn't stabilized himself, but he was already so strong. As expected, Master Realm was a huge gap from Martial Path Grade 12. This was like building one's foundations and then unlocking the secrets of the human body to obtain extraordinary strength. When he was prepared to heave a sigh of relief, the changes in his body arrived. It hurts a little. He felt that his flesh and blood were changing. Many green veins appeared on the surface of his skin, like many earthworms were moving in his body. It felt like they were about to explode. With a pung. Damn. It really exploded. All the green veins on his body exploded, but no blood flowed out. Shortly after, something weird happened. Those green veins were reorganizing. It hurt a little. It was really itchy. It was like many ants were crawling on his body. That feeling was torture. How did this happen? When I raised internal strength, it didn't happen like this. Why did it become like this when I raised physique? Or was it really hard to raise physique to master realm? Lin Fan had such a guess and even felt like it was possible. Add points. Physique. 370 initial master, internal strength. 370 initial master. He really felt the feeling of the internal and external layers. That stimulation was like electricity flowing through his body. Great. So great. Lin Fan laid on the bed, his hands grabbing the sheet. The internal strength change didn't cause much pain, but the increase in physique made him feel like his body was being ripped apart. Damn, I can take it. Motherf asterisk cur it hurts. F asterisk ck me it hurts. In that short moment, he was covered in sweat. His body was drenched in sweat. Drip, drip. Sweat soaked the sheet. When he raised physique to initial master, his skin and dermis started to change. The epidermis and dermis of his skin were quietly mutating. In modern terms, his skin cells had already evolved. They were resistant to damage, beatings, fire, cold, and were even more resilient. There were many changes that no one knew about. After a long while, the pain disappeared. Lin Fan laid on the bed and panted. His body seemed to have become lighter, like he had improved. I became stronger. P.S. Thank you, please call me Chundaju Tan Yunyun El Tien Tien's Tian, thank you. Chapter 196. Fuzhou, the giant boat on the river. Ingjiu stood beside the boat and looked at the brightly lit city. He didn't expect that senior brother would appear. Even if people searched for him, they couldn't find any traces of him. Now that he appeared in Fuzhou, what did he want to do? He had already told senior brother everything, but senior brother didn't want to admit it. Actually, he had always wanted to personally ask eldest senior brother if he was the one who killed Master. Although the people from Insect Valley had pushed this matter to senior brother, Zhong Shou didn't know what to do. But he didn't believe it. That was because he knew that senior brother treated Master as a father and wouldn't kill Master for the bug controlling technique. Deputy leader, gang leader is looking for you. A gang member carefully informed. Ingjiu wasn't the deputy gang leader of 9 Bug Gang, but the deputy leader of the assassination squad. 9 Bug Gang didn't have a deputy gang leader. Understood. Ingjiu replied coldly and then walked into the cabin. The gang members heaved a sigh of relief. This was just too terrifying. The deputy leader had failed and was definitely on the verge of exploding in rage. If anyone was blind and made the deputy leader unhappy, they would definitely be killed. He had seen many such things. The next day, Lin Fan woke up early. The air in Fuzhou wasn't good and he smelled a suppressive smell. Maybe this was the special smell of Fuzhou. Compared to Jiang City and even Yu City, it was much worse. Feng Polia didn't sleep for the entire night. He came to Fuzhou and for some reason, he felt like he was getting closer and closer to Insect Valley. That feeling was just too magical. He pushed open the door and bumped into Lin Fan. You. He didn't recognize him right away. Who was this fellow? His face seemed to have changed. What you, my cousin and I are going out for a walk. Do you want to go out too? Put something on your face and wear a mask. As long as one isn't blind, they will be able to recognize you right away. Lin Fan said. Sometimes he was thinking about it. Those people who wore masks, weren't they afraid of people recognizing them? I am not going. Feng Poliu shook his head. He didn't want to walk around Fuzhou. Lin Fan shook his head. This person was so boring. However, when he left, he noticed that Zhao Xianghe and the others were nowhere to be seen. Who knew when they left? It was tough to investigate the connection between 9 Bug Gang and King Wudong in Fuzhou. In the city, Lin Fan and Zhou Zhongmao had changed their appearances, but their physiques hadn't changed. This appearance-changing fluid was really powerful. Just smearing it on the face could cause such a change. This place is really bustling. Looking at his surroundings, Lin Fan sighed in his heart. 9 Bug Gang was indeed an evil power, and they were really vicious. However, one couldn't see any signs of them being suppressed within Fuzhou. Indeed, if 9 Bug Gang messed around in Fuzhou, then this place wouldn't be so prosperous. People would have left long ago and hid far away. There were people gathered in front of him. Many people pointed at the portrait on the wall. He took a closer look. It was actually a portrait of Lin Fan and Zhou Zhongmao. This portrait wasn't the one that Lin Fan had given them, but a new one. It was very similar and there wasn't much difference. However, how could there be no portraits of Feng Polio? Cousin, this reward is a little low. We only have 20,000. This 9 Bug Gang really doesn't care about us. Lin Fan exclaimed. He felt slightly regretful. In the end, he still looked down on them? Zhou Zhongmao, on the other hand, did not feel this way. He did not care about money at all. However, if cousin said that it was little, then it was really little. Fuzhou Zhizhou Manor. Zhao Xianghe and his men disguised themselves as food delivery men and entered through the back door. The highest leader of the Zhizhou Manor was sent by the imperial dynasty to Fuzhou to monitor 9 Bug Gang. Usually, they didn't need to contact the imperial dynasty. They could even work with 9 Bug Gang to help them expand their route. Only then would 9 Bug Gang believe that the people sent by the imperial dynasty were bought over by them. After they entered the mansion, someone led them to another path to leave. Within a hidden room, Sir Wang. Zhao Xianghe cupped his fists and was filled with respect. He had come to Fuzhou for the imperial dynasty for so many years. Wang Ji was the highest leader of the Zhizhou Manor. He was thin and had a mustache. His eyes were small and just one look made one feel like he wasn't a good person. Over the years, the people who contacted him changed wave after wave. Wang Ji hid really well and 9 Bug Gang didn't notice anything wrong with him. Sir Zhao. Wang Ji cupped his fists and said, I have waited for a long time. A while ago, King Wudong came to Fuzhou and contacted 9 Bug Gang. As for the exact situation, I don't know. 9 Bug Gang doesn't trust me fully even if I help them build connections with so many aristocratic families. It has been tough on Sir Wang to gather intel in such a dangerous place. Zhao Xianghe was impressed. He was really impressed. He had lived under 9 Bug Gang's eyes for so many years and danger accompanied him. If he didn't personally feel that pressure, he wouldn't have dared to imagine it. It is okay. The imperial dynasty trusts me, so naturally, I can't let them rely on me. Wang Ji said, right, all of you need to pay attention. Some sects have joined hands with 9 Bug Gang. These sects are really hidden. I learned about it from a hall head when I drank with him. He didn't reveal any more news and just mentioned it briefly. I hope that Sir Zhao can report it to the imperial dynasty to pay attention to the various sections. Zhao Xianghe's expression was solemn. How is that possible? Do those sects want to rebel too? I am not sure, but it is hard to say that the experts in those sects don't want to experience the power of the emperor. Wang Ji said. These things were already complicated. King Wudong's rebellion was just a spark. However, it still managed to blast many people out of their homes. He didn't understand what the emperor was thinking. His brother had already rebelled, so why didn't he suppress it and instead sent them to investigate? Zhao Xianghe and Wang Ji talked for a long while Yang Wu and the others were wary of the situation outside. Sir Wang, I roughly understand the situation. Zhao Xianghe nodded. At the same time, Wang Ji passed the records of 9 Bug Gang's activities to Zhao Xianghe. Goodbye. Wang Ji cupped his fists, have a good trip. After which, Zhao Xianghe and the others were led back the way they came. They turned into farmers and left from the back door. Wang Ji squinted as he looked at the backs of those who left. He smiled and left with his hands behind his back. Living in the center of desire, how many people could hold onto a firm heart that they thought would never change? That night. Brother Lin, we are leaving. How long are you going to stay for? Yang Wu came to say goodbye. Their mission was completed, and they needed to bring the intel back to the imperial dynasty. As such, they couldn't stay here for long. You just came and you want to leave? Didn't you want to investigate 9 Bug Gang and King Wudong? Lin Fan asked. That was just too quick. Yang Wu said, Brother Lin, with our strength, how can we sneak into 9 Bug Gang? We have spies here, and getting intel is the same as completing the mission. That was the truth. With their strength, they couldn't fight 9 Bug Gang at all. It seemed like he was thinking too much. Okay, have a safe trip. We don't want to leave yet, Lin Fan said. He just came here for a short while and was about to leave. This speed was just too quick. Even if he fired cannons, he wouldn't be so quick. Goodbye. If I have a chance, I will drink with Brother Lin. Yang Wu smiled and left. When he left, he bumped into Feng Poliu. Sniff sniff. Feng Poliu smelled something bad from Yang Wu's body. What is he doing? Feng Poliu asked. Lin Fan said. He said that he completed the mission and will leave tonight. He said goodbye to me, so I didn't stop him. He strolled around Fuzhou with his cousin for a day. His horizons were broadened, but he didn't see anything that surprised him. I smelled something from his body, Feng Poliu said. He thought about it. It was a long time ago, so I can't remember. 9 Bug Gang within the cabin. Gang leader, our Jiuan sect really wants to join King Wudong. Please introduce us. The person who spoke was an elder from Jiuan sect. He brought disciples to Fuzhou to discuss this matter. Jiuan sect, I have heard of it. But King Wudong doesn't need trash, so are you all trash? The gang leader behind the curtain asked. The disciples who followed the elder out knew that he was insulting them, but they didn't dare to be arrogant. However, they were furious deep down. This was 9 Bug Gang. A terrifying presence. Luning looked like a middle-aged man and said, Gang leader, our Jiuan sect is strong, so how can we be trash? Whether or not we are trash isn't something you can say with your mouth. I will give you a task to prove that you aren't trash. Go help me kill some people. Hee. The moment he said that, the gang leader gave a dark and sunken laugh. To the Jiuan sect disciples, the fatty hiding behind was terrifying. Even if they didn't get close, just looking at him from afar made them feel a chill down their spines. Outside of Fuzhou, Zhao Xianghe brought the 3 of them and left swiftly. However, he felt like something wasn't right. However, it was hard to say what wasn't right. It was like everything was going too smoothly. Sir, do you think Sir Wang will live in Fuzhou for a long time and be corrupted by 9 Bug Gang? Yang Wu asked. Zhao Xianghe stared in rage. Impossible, Sir Wang sacrificed himself to stay in Fuzhou for so many years. In the future, you are not allowed to say such things. Yes, sir. Yang Wu lowered his head. The 4 of them rode horses and left Fuzhou. Suddenly, Poochie! A head flew up. With a loud explosion, the person on the horse lost his head and fell to the ground. Everything happened too quickly. Everyone couldn't react at all. Who? Zhao Xianghe was shocked. What was going on? Who revealed their actions? Jiuan sect elder Lu Ning brought disciples to stop them. Don't leave, all of you stay. Lu Ning walked out from the darkness. The 9 Bug Gang leader was such a disgusting presence. That kind of high and mighty appearance really made people unhappy. Chapter 197. Within the room. Feng Polia's expression changed like he thought about something. That smell was familiar, but he didn't pay much attention to it. Now that he thought about it, he felt that it wasn't good. What happened? Lin Fan looked at the 9-headed bug. Seeing that Feng Polia's expression wasn't good, It was obvious that he had something on his mind. Feng Polia said helplessly, "It seems like I was right. Their lives are short and something should have happened to them." "You are talking about them?" Lin Fan found it weird. That shouldn't be possible. There was a secret tunnel and no one noticed it. If they did, they wouldn't have waited until now to attack. "And I smelled something from the person who left your room. That smell is something Insect Valley uses to track people. It is obvious that 9 Bug Gang has their eyes on them. It wasn't there when we met, but now it is. It seems like he went to meet someone and got it from there." Feng Polia didn't care about his life or death, as it had nothing to do with him. But when he saw Lin Fan in deep thought, he asked curiously, "You want to save them?" "I am thinking about it," Lin Fan said. He was really considering whether or not to save them. Their relationship wasn't close, at most they had some contact. They couldn't even be considered friends. Now that he knew that they were in danger, he wasn't too emotional. He rolled up his sleeves and headed over. He was thinking about whether or not to take a look. "Actually, there isn't much to think about. We don't know each other and it is easy to get yourself killed," Feng Poliu persuaded. Since some things had nothing to do with him, then he didn't care. He didn't want to bring trouble to himself. Outside the city. Third brother. Yang Wu saw his partner get stabbed in the chest with one sword. His eyes were about to pop out of their socket. They were just about to leave, so why did such a thing happen? Who was it? Who betrayed them? Zhao Xianghe fought with him, but he was at a disadvantage. He wasn't Jiyuan's sex match and slowly couldn't take it anymore. A sword shone coldly. Zhao Xianghe's stomach was ripped open and fresh blood flowed out. "My lord." Yang Wu had some minor injuries on his body, but they weren't serious. He supported Zhao Xianghe and retreated. "Don't worry about me. Go." Cold sweat appeared on Zhao Xianghe's forehead. The injury on his stomach was too painful. Moreover, he was an expert, and that sword had trashed him. "You are right, Wang Ji might have been corrupted by 9 Bug Gang." His voice was weak. "My lord, I can't give up on you," Yang Wu said. He looked at the people in front. "I see that you aren't from 9 Bug Gang. If you have any requests, then tell us. As long as you need it, we will be able to do it." Lu Ning shook the blood-stained sword in his hand and said with a smile, "Please lend me your lives." As soon as he finished speaking, Lu Ning attacked. A beam of sword light twined in front of him and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Just when his sword was about to kill the two of them, he felt a cold light coming from not far away. "Poochie!" A long saber was stabbed into the ground. "Who is it?" Ning Ning looked over but didn't see anyone. However, the saber proved that there was someone around. Lin Fan walked out from the darkness and said calmly, "I thought that there would be many people, so there are only so few. How disappointing." Feng Polia was helpless and insisted on coming over. He said that if it was an expert, he wouldn't attack. Who knew that he didn't care about them just because they had so few people? "Brother, we are in 9 Bug Gang's territory. Sometimes, couldn't he be a little more humble?" "Brother Lin." Yang Wu was delighted. He didn't expect Brother Lin to save his life once more. Such kindness was hard to repay. Lin Fan walked in front of Yang Wu and looked at him. "You only have so few people, it isn't enough for me to hammer. What a waste." Rage points plus 222. Rage points plus 123. Lu Ning was furious. How arrogant were those words, just like the 9 Bug Gang leader. His words were just too ugly and it made them feel really annoyed. "Kid, arrogant. Later, when you die under my sword, don't say that I didn't remind you." Lu Ning hollered in rage and used a decent sword technique. The sword light shone and from far away, one could sense the sword energy from his body. Lin Fan didn't take out a blade as he felt like there was no need. Zhou Zhongmao wanted to attack, but Lin Fan stopped him. His cultivation was really strong and he wanted to test its strength. Just as Lu Ning was about to arrive in front of him, Demon Ape Fist. Lin Fan hollered. The demon ape appeared behind him. It was even stronger than Cousin's. The demon ape's aura spread out as it raised its hands and hammered down. Pung! The ground shook and a giant hole appeared. So strong. Zhou Zhongmao was shocked. Cousin was so amazing. Also, didn't he just give this cultivation technique to Cousin? How did he cultivate it so quickly? It was even more profound than his own. Was there anyone who could teach him why his cousin was so strong? He broke through to Master Realm? Feng Polia's eyes were filled with shock. How old was he? How could he cultivate so quickly? What realm was he at the last time he saw him? No. He must have seen wrongly. That was King impossible. Feng Polia's eyes opened wide in shock. He felt like the heavens were joking with him. Or was it that when one reached middle age, one's eyes were about to go blind? Maybe he was really going blind. Lu Ning came aggressively with his sword in hand. He was still using his best swordsmanship. But at this moment, he stood rooted to the spot and looked at the deep hole in front of him. His body couldn't help but tremble. Haze, I hammered too early. If not, you would be in the hole. Lin Fan was helpless. He didn't expect that he would fail. How weak was that? Speaking of which, after cultivation reached Master Realm, it felt different. Internal strength and the explosion of power stacked together. There was no problem at all. He was a dual cultivator. Even if he was at the initial stage, he felt that he was stronger than peak Master Realm expert. Maybe it was an illusion, but he was confident. You. Who are you? Lu Ning's voice started to tremble. Lin Fan's aura was just too strong. Especially when those fists landed, the strong wind caused his face to hurt. What is your cultivation? Lin Fan asked. Lu Ning's teeth chattered. Martial Path Grade 12 Peak. Oh, that is very weak. Moreover, your sword skills are a little bad. Lin Fan chuckled. He finally understood why so many people loved to cultivate with their lives on the line. It turned out that the feeling of being strong was really great. Cousin, am I strong enough? Lin Fan turned around and asked. At that moment, Lu Ning, who was trembling in fear, had a cold glow in his eyes as he hollered in rage, Die! The sword in his hand stabbed forwards, and the sword light gathered at one point. Kung! Lu Ning's eyes opened wide. How was that possible? His sword seemed to have stabbed into a metal block and was unable to move an inch. Beneath the pierced clothes there was perfectly fine skin. The accuracy is enough, but the strength is much weaker. Lin Fan turned his head and moved the blade away. As expected, after physique broke through to Master Realm, it was terrifyingly tough. Lu Ning was a martial path grade 12 peak expert. That sword which contained internal strength actually couldn't break through his skin. He wanted to shout out loud, Brother, are you joking with me? Your sword can't even break my defense, so what else can you do? Rage points plus 666. Lu Ning's eyes turned red. Rage exploded out as he hollered, I don't believe you. Destruction sword. He jumped up in shock. Terrifying martial path grade 12 internal strength surged out. How could he be so strong at such a young age? Where did this sick person come from? He didn't believe it. He didn't believe it. Lin Fan clenched his fingers, internal strength and strength combining to explode forth with his strongest attack. He punched forwards and struck Lu Ning's stomach. With a purring, the area where the fist touched started to twist at a speed that the naked eye couldn't capture. There was a loud explosion. Lu Ning's body flew backward, smashing numerous trees and falling to the ground. This is the strength of an initial master. No, Master Realm can't compare to me who has reached both internal and external cultivation. Lin Fan muttered. The strength of that fist wasn't explosive, it was just a casual punch. However, it was this casual punch that killed the other party in an instant. Run quickly, this fellow is too terrifying. When the Jiyuan sect disciples saw their elder explode, they were like frightened birds. Although Lin Fan didn't attack them. Very quickly, he was going to kill them. Lin Fan looked at those fellows who fled and was annoyed. He raised his hands and lightning wrapped around them. This was the power of the Big Dipper Silence Palm. After breaking through to Master Realm, his control of internal strength was much finer. The power of lightning that was formed from his internal strength was extremely taxing on his internal strength. But to Lin Fan, his internal strength was limitless. It is over. He pushed with his palms. A snake-like lightning wrapped around and covered those disciples who were fleeing. Pili Pala. It was like the sound of firecrackers. Following that, those disciples fell to the ground with a loud bang, their bodies emitting thick black smoke. Everyone's hair had been electrocuted into a killer. Come out, stop hiding. Aren't you tired of watching? Lin Fan's eyes locked onto the dark sky. Pung pung. Instantly, a person appeared from the darkness. He stood on a branch and wore a mask. Amazing, you actually noticed me. The person wearing the mask opened his mouth. His voice was that of a male and was slightly hoarse. Lin Fan smiled. It isn't that I noticed you, I was just casually saying. After all, many wuxia dramas are like that. He was just giving it a try. In the past, when he watched dramas, there would always be people observing from the shadows. He had been thinking, could he really not notice me? So after this ended, he casually said that it was okay even if there was no one, he would just treat it as if he saw wrongly. Feng Polia was stunned. What was a wuxia drama? When did this fellow come? He didn't sense anything at all. It didn't mean that he was strong but that he was really good at hiding. Chapter 198. Who was he? Feng Polia didn't know him. Although Nine Bug Gang was a subsidiary power of Insect Valley, he was unfamiliar with the gang members. As long as it wasn't Junior Brother, everything else didn't matter. The person who appeared was strong, but he wasn't so strong that he couldn't fight him. Feng Poliu admitted that there were many experts in the world and many stronger than him. But as the grand disciple of Insect Valley, he wasn't just for show. There wasn't a high chance of meeting people stronger than him. You should be the one who went against Nine Bug Gang recently, right? The masked man asked. Some people who popped out from nowhere dared to attack Nine Bug Gang. They were really bold. Lin Fan smiled. That's right, it is me. I did everything. As long as Nine Bug Gang can't find any clues, you can blame it on me. It can't be wrong. You are really confident. The face hidden under the mask changed. He had met another abnormal person. He hated such people, because the expression on his face was so confident. In the past, he was a confident person and was arrogant to everyone. However, after he met the gang leader of Nine Bug Gang, his confidence collapsed. From then on, he wore a mask. It wasn't that he didn't have the face to face others, but that the gang leader told him that if he saw his confident face again, he would kill him. He was so frightened that he only dared to wear the mask. It is okay, a man has to be confident. For example, I show my face to others, but you can only wear a mask. Don't think that you look handsome when you wear a mask, you are just like a fool. Lin Fan said. Rage points plus 666. Decent rage points. He was already annoyed. Are you angry? Unfortunately, you aren't confident enough. If you are, you should take off your mask and not use anger to vent your unhappiness like a kid. Lin Fan smiled. 4 rage points, he was actually going all out. His mouth was like a machine gun, spitting fire and giving off a blue light. Feng Polia was helpless. He was from Nine Bug Gang, so why did he say so much to him? Rage points plus 777. The man with the ghost mask was enraged. Shut up. It's impossible for me to shut up. If you want to make a move, then come. I also want to see if you can make me use my full strength. Lin Fan was really a little arrogant. In the past, he wouldn't have said such things. He had always been low-key and kept a low profile. Now, keeping a low profile was far away from him. Replacing him was the king of verbal cannons, who loved to spout nonsense. Furthermore, there was discrimination in their hearts. Those who were weak didn't want to bother with them. Only those with great strength could receive his care and concern. Rage points plus 888. The masked man was really angry. He had never met someone who could make him so angry. It was as if someone was jumping in front of him, taking off his pants, patting his buttocks and shouting, "Come and hit me! Come and hit me if you have the guts. Otherwise I'll kill you with a fart." Swoosh! The sound of leaves. The masked man spread his arms wide, and many leaves floated around him. They were densely packed, and they spun rapidly as if they could cut through anything. His opponent was gathering his power. Lin Fan waved his hand at Zhao Xianghe and Yang Wu. "Hurry up and get out of the way. You guys won't be able to handle this wave of attack." Yang Wu obediently retreated. He wasn't angry at all. He was telling the truth. They were a little weak and couldn't handle it. As an official of the Imperial Dynasty's secret department, Zhao Xianghe felt hurt. When did he become so weak in front of such a young man? He even felt so ashamed. Didn't other people say that young people wouldn't be too strong? That was because cultivation needed time. But who was this young man? Why was he so strong? He was already middle-aged and wasn't his match. If Lin Fan knew what he was thinking, he would tell him seriously. That was because he was a genius. He definitely wasn't someone that others looked down on but envied. Zhou Zhongmao saw that cousin was in danger and wanted to head up to help. Feng Polia blocked him. "What do you want to do?" "My cousin is in danger, so I have to help him," Zhou Zhongmao said. Feng Polia wanted to die, but he still said, "Don't think too much, your cousin is much stronger than you. If you go help, you are asking to die." "Even if I die, I am not afraid," Zhou Zhongmao said firmly. He didn't fear enemies who hurt cousin. Even if he couldn't win, he would fight to the last drop of health. Naturally, Feng Polia wouldn't let go of Zhou Zhongmao. This fellow's brain wasn't normal, that was something he saw from a long time ago. "Die, I am going to rip you into pieces," the masked man hollered. He pushed with his palms, thick internal strength wrapped up each leaf. A strong wind blew, and with a xiao, the leaves swept forwards. The leaves that spun at high speeds had a strong cutting ability. There were innocent trees in front of him that were cut by the leaves, but the leaves were completely unharmed. His internal strength was really thick. Normal people wouldn't be able to handle such consumption. "This move is really strong, but I know how to do it too." Lin Fan opened his fingers. He didn't need to gather energy, internal strength surged out. The leaves on the ground floated up, each leaf had a layer of internal strength on it. Xiao xiao. The leaves floating around him quickly flew over and collided with the other party's leaves. Every time a leaf collided, a shocking sound would erupt. This was the internal strength of both sides clashing. Why were the weak leaves so sharp? It was all because of the existence of internal strength. Lin Fan's internal strength was endless, and he couldn't feel any consumption at all. He was unhappy with the current situation. There were too few leaves, really too few. His internal strength couldn't be used up at all. Could he let him feel what it felt like to use up all his internal strength? Once, even if it was just for an instant. How annoying! Lin Fan hollered. Not to mention the leaves, even the trees were uprooted. His internal strength seemed like it couldn't be used up as he buffed the leaves and trees. Attack! A shocking scene exploded out. This! Feng Polia's eyes opened wide. This was just too sick. He knew that he was strong and had reached Master Realm, but didn't he feel that his internal strength was being consumed quickly? When his internal strength was used up, he was like a fish that was waiting to be slaughtered. The masked man was shocked. What was this fellow doing? Was he crazy? He pressed down with his palms. Internal strength was like a spinning wheel that wrapped around his body. Pung! Pung! The leaves and trees all smashed onto it and then turned to dust. The masked man's originally disdainful smile turned serious. When he saw him play like that, he was thinking that it was great. Let's see how thick his internal strength was and how long he could last. However, things didn't seem right. The leaves and trees within a radius of several hundred meters were almost swept clean by him. He used internal strength to block, but he needed to consume internal strength. If this continued, he didn't even fight him and was able to compete with him in terms of consumption. God shadow step. The masked man stepped forwards, instantly turning into an afterimage. It was tough to track him. He even sped through the leaves and trees, perfectly dodging. This was a deep footwork technique. When one's cultivation reached master and above, their cultivation techniques weren't trash. Instantly, the masked man appeared in front of Lin Fan. One energy saint mysterious technique. An even more terrifying internal strength exploded out and gathered on his fist. Lin Fan didn't panic at all. Purple Sun 4 Saint Scriptures purple internal strength exploded. A purple glow appeared behind his head. At the same time, his body was covered in a black mist. This was the internal strength of the demon enforcing heart scripture. Pung! Pung! Unmovable king body was a physique technique. His muscles swelled up and tensed up. In that short moment, Lin Fan used all the strength that he had cultivated during this period of time. Their fists clashed. Pung! A white energy current rose up between their fists. It then spun like a windmill, causing an intense storm. Hong! The internal strength clashed, causing a deep hole to appear in the ground. The two of them maintained the position of clashing. There was no change at all. Feng Polia's expression was solemn. The masked man's cultivation was peak master realm, which was the peak. He was just lacking a chance to open up his meridians and become a grandmaster. But young Master Lin was only initial master. They were actually on the same level. You are just a peak master realm expert. You are just too trash. No. It wasn't that he was too weak, but the strength that young Master Lin used wasn't something that an initial master could have. Internal and external cultivation. This was a dual cultivation. Normal people basically cultivated internal strength. Even if they cultivated physique, they wouldn't be able to reach such a level like young Master Lin. Damn it. Didn't they say that he was a rich family young master? How did he cultivate his physique? It seemed like he had reached master realm. You are not bad. Lin Fan smiled, reaching out with his left hand and grabbing his wrist. The masked man reacted and grabbed Lin Fan's wrist too. Pung! The two of them punched one another, causing an even more intense storm. If one didn't personally witness it, no one would believe that an initial Master Realm fellow could actually fight a peak Master Realm expert on the same level. The masked man used some sort of cultivation technique. His arm twisted. He instantly pulled out his wrist and retreated. He took out a fan from his waist and opened it. Xiao xiao. Countless silver needles that were invisible to the naked eye flew out from the fan. These silver needles were as thin as cow hair and as fine as hair. Moreover, they could turn. Lin Fan crossed his arms, bent his body and hollered. Ding ding dang dang. Those invisible needles struck his body and gave out a metallic sound. The needles fell. Many thin needles were scattered around Lin Fan's feet. The moonlight shone and reflected the moonlight. There was no movement. Lin Fan maintained that posture. Some needles pierced his back, but they didn't enter his body. Whoo! Lin Fan heaved a sigh of relief. The internal qi in his body swelled, and the muscles on his back swelled. Poochie! The needles in his back were squeezed out and stabbed into the darkness. What is your name? The masked man said solemnly. Lin Fan smiled and stomped his feet. The needles on the ground floated up and stabbed into the ground, forming 3 words. This is my name, read it out loud for me. Hello, Father. The masked man looked at it word by word, and then he couldn't help but say it out. This was a habit of humans. Hayes, hello son. Lin Fan replied. Rage points plus 999 PS. Sorry, I updated late. I was reading a novel and forgot. Chapter 199. I really want to kill you. The masked man gritted his teeth in rage. Vengeful energy seeped out. He was filled with killing intent. Rage points plus 999. He had reached the peak of rage points. Lin Fan stretched out his neck and patted the artery on his neck. Come, kill me here. Slice down, Poochie, that feeling. Feels good. He provoked him in an unrestrained manner. The masked man had never faced such a person who dared to provoke him in front of him and was still able to live. This was the first one. Fong Polia wanted to die. Dear young Master Lin, didn't you fight well just now? Why did you stop and even argue with him? Lin Fan wasn't interested in fighting. If he didn't suppress him, then it would be so pointless. To fight to the point where he was covered in injuries, he didn't even know why. Go suppress him, I am not interested anymore. Lin Fan waved his hands towards Fong Polia. 100 silver a month was expensive. Now was the time for him to perform. He didn't need to waste time, he just had to do it. Once Fong Polia suppressed him, he would have a good chat with him. Fong Polia looked at Lin Fan speechlessly. He knew that this would happen. To Lin Fan, he had more or less figured out just how strong he was. He was very strong. If he continued to fight him, he would definitely win. He just needed to pay a small price. There weren't many people around. Who was he performing for? Even if there was an audience, he wouldn't perform. He wasn't someone who acted cool. The masked man didn't say a word, leaving right away. A voice spread out. I remember all of you. Prepare to receive the endless rage of 9 Bug Gang. Lin Fan looked at Fong Polia. Fong Polia looked at Lin Fan too. The two of them just stared at one another. Why did you let him run? Lin Fan asked. His head hurt. If he knew, he would have tangled with him and then let Fong Polia attack from the side. He ran too quickly and I couldn't react. Fong Polia blamed him. It wasn't his fault, it definitely wasn't. Actually, he didn't want to stop him. There was really no need. You came to Fuzhou and fought 9 Bug Gang head-on. You were already really amazing. He really wanted Lin Fan to leave. There was no need to fight to the death with 9 Bug Gang. With their current abilities, staying in Fuzhou was not a wise choice. It was all right now. He was so close to going head-on against 9 Bug Gang. Thank you, Brother Lin. Yang Wu was astonished by Lin Fan's strength. It was just too terrifying. Moreover, they heaved a sigh of relief when they got rid of 9 Bug Gang's chase. Of the dozen or so people who came with him, only he and Lord Zhao were left. It was really too miserable. It's just a small matter. Lin Fan waved his hand dismissively, not taking this matter to heart. Zhao Xianghe said, Young Master Lin, do you have any thoughts about serving the imperial dynasty? With your strength, if you serve the imperial dynasty, you will definitely be able to soar. Riches and power will definitely not be a problem. He had a heart that cherished talent. It would be a waste if such a person couldn't be used by the imperial dynasty. Do I look like someone who doesn't have money? Lin Fan felt that this Zhao Xianghe didn't know how to speak well and was a little timid. Didn't he just want to rope him in so that he would be safer in the future? Zhao Xianghe explained, Young Master Lin, this isn't about money, but to young Master Lin. Okay, let's not talk about this anymore. What you said didn't move my heart at all, which means that I don't feel tempted at all. Lin Fan waved his hands and didn't want to continue talking about this matter. He was thinking about a really complicated matter. He couldn't stay in Fuzhou anymore. He was exposed. If he continued, he wouldn't gain anything unless he was confident in fighting 9 Bug Gang alone. But was that possible? If he could wipe out 9 bug gangs so easily, they wouldn't have lasted until now. But if he didn't wipe them out, then wasn't the bold words he had spoken earlier a slap to his own face? Instantly, he thought about how 9 bug gangs still had divisions. He could wipe them out and complete his bold words from before. Zhao Xianghe was a little sad. He was ignored. Yang Wu said softly, "Sir, let's leave in case 9 bug gang sends people to chase us." Zhao Xianghe nodded his head. That was the only way. This trip to Fuzhou terrified him, it was just too dangerous. "Brother Lin, we will take our leave. We will repay your kindness in the future." Yang Wu cupped his fists and said solemnly. Lin Fan smiled, "Have a safe trip." Very quickly, Yang Wu and Zhao Xianghe left on their horses, not daring to stay any longer. "I feel like the two of them have short lives." Feng Polia looked at their disappearing backs and said. Lin Fan said, "Stop it, they didn't offend you, so why do you keep saying that they have short lives? For people like you to say bad things about them behind their backs, it would be impossible for them to win money in the gambling den. Forget it if you don't believe me. Really, what do you want now?" Feng Polio asked. Lin Fan said, "Leave Fuzhou, we can't stay here for long." "Right, where are our horses?" Feng Polio blinked. "You didn't lead the horses?" "What do I need to lead? Do I look like someone who leads horses?" Lin Fan was speechless. A rich family young master leading a horse, no one would believe him. Then, the two of them looked towards Zhou Zhongmao. Since the two of them didn't lead, then it was definitely him. Zhou Zhongmao said honestly, "Cousin, I was the one who led the horse. When we entered the secret passage, I left the horse outside. Is it gone? Wasn't that nonsense? They were definitely gone." "It is okay, the horses went out for a walk, then let's go." Could Lin Fan blame his cousin? He couldn't blame his cousin, wasn't it just a horse, what was the big deal? Feng Polio wanted to say something, but he noticed that Lin Fan's gaze was a little off. Like he was sending a message. "If you dare to say anything about my cousin, I will chop off your head." Feng Polio was innocent, "I didn't mean that." Lin Fan took a look. "If you don't mean that, then don't say anything, otherwise I will take it that you mean that." Feng Polio, "What do you mean?" Lin Fan, "Who cares what I mean, anyway, you are not allowed to." No matter what, Lin Fan being willing to leave Fuzhou was a success for Feng Polio. Leaving Fuzhou was the right choice. 9 bug gang was terrifyingly strong and couldn't be offended. At least with the current situation, not offending them was the wisest choice. "Let's go." Lin Fan rose up. His body was as light as a swallow, slowly disappearing into the darkness. He was thinking about when he could fly, how good would it be if he could fly. The three of them were really quick, under the moonlight they were like fairies flying towards the moon. Suddenly, there was a figure waiting in front of him. Maybe sensing their arrival, Ingju turned his head. His expression was a little complicated. "Senior brother, are you just going to avoid me?" "You know him?" Lin Fan asked. Feng Polio shook his head. "You recognize the wrong person." Ingju stood there and said, "Eldest brother, I can mistake others for someone else, but I will never mistake you for someone else. Your smell, your moves, and your voice, I will never forget them. Why can't I admit who you are? Or did you really kill Master and don't dare to face me? Master treats us like a mountain, you treat Master as your father. Other people might believe that you killed Master, but I don't." He was eating melons. Lin Fan was quiet. One had to be quiet when eating melons, otherwise there would be nothing to eat. However, Feng Polio was really vicious. He actually killed Master. He really couldn't tell. "Senior brother, take off your mask, I don't believe that you killed Master." Ingju said. What he said was the truth. He believed that anyone killed Master, but he didn't believe that senior brother killed Master. Lin Fan and Zhou Zhongmao didn't say a word. This was a family matter and it wasn't good for them to interrupt. Listening quietly was the greatest respect they could give to the other party. Feng Polio's head hurt. He didn't want to see people he was familiar with, especially Junior Brother. Instantly, Feng Poliu attacked, arriving in front of Ingjiu. He pressed down with a palm, and then his technique changed, striking the back of his neck. He just knocked him out. "Young Master Lin, let's go," Feng Poliu said. He stood beside Junior Brother to let Lin Fan go first, in case Lin Fan was rash and killed him. That would be a huge problem. Lin Fan smiled. Who didn't have any secrets? He headed forwards. Feng Poliu looked at Lin Fan's back and then squatted down to touch Ingjiu's head. He muttered, "Junior Brother, it is not good to know some things." He followed. Not long after Feng Poliu left, Ingjiu woke up. He looked around to search for Senior Brother, but he couldn't find him. In the distance, Lin Fan said, "I couldn't tell. He is your junior brother, so you don't want to acknowledge him?" He recognized the wrong person. Feng Poliu said, "I don't think he recognized the wrong person. He is staying in 9 Bug Gang, and I feel like he won't be treated well. Why don't you let him be like you, become a helper of Martial Path Mountain?" Lin Fan said. Feng Poliu said helplessly, "I really don't know him." "Stop acting, forget it. If you don't know him, then so be it. I have seen the consequences of him staying in 9 Bug Gang. If you don't admit it, when I get stronger and wipe out 9 Bug Gang, don't blame me for killing the wrong person." Who would believe him? Feng Poliu didn't care about Lin Fan's words at all. "Okay, let's not talk about this. Are we returning to Martial Path Mountain?" Lin Fan shook his head. "Not Martial Path Mountain, let's head to the 9 Bug Gang division. We can't wipe out the headquarters, but a division shouldn't be a problem. Moreover, the silver is still hidden there, so we have to bring it back." "Are you serious?" Feng Poliu was stunned and looked at Lin Fan in a daze. What was he thinking? Did he want to fight 9 Bug Gang to the death? Lin Fan smiled. "How can it be fake? Don't worry, it is just a division. We will teach them a lesson." Feng Poliu was speechless. He felt like he was on the edge of asking to die. 9 Bug Gang was really unlucky to be targeted by this fellow. Chapter 200. After Lin Fan left Fuzhou, 9 Bug Gang searched the city. The deaths of those people from Jiuen's sect didn't affect 9 Bug Gang at all. The gang leader said that they were trash. If they weren't trash, then it proved that they weren't trash. But regretfully, they proved that they were trash and even died in his hands. To 9 Bug Gang there were too many of such people, too many. They didn't even look at their own sect's strength and dared to come to 9 Bug Gang to introduce King Wudong. What a joke. The masked man returned in failure and was scolded and punished by the gang leader. He was really unwilling, but he had no choice. Lin Fan was unexpectedly strong. Wang Ji was the Fuzhou prefect and had been corrupted by 9 Bug Gang. However, the imperial dynasty didn't know about it. If they found out, he wouldn't have a good life. The commoners in the city suffered from people breaking into their houses for no reason. Even if they were unhappy, they were furious but didn't dare to say anything. Many sect disciples in Fuzhou noticed that 9 Bug Gang was causing a huge commotion. They were really curious and didn't know what happened. In the end, after searching for a long time, they didn't even find a single person. To 9 Bug Gang, this was an unbearable humiliation. Others found them and they lost many experts, but they didn't even find a single person. Trash. They were just trash. Yunlu City. Lin Fan and the others rushed through the night and finally arrived at their destination. This place was hundreds of miles away from Fuzhou. This was the place where they hid the silver. 9 Bug Gang had many divisions. There was one in Yunlu City, while the others were in other cities. The few cities were connected and protected Fuzhou within. These divisions opened their doors to recruit disciples. However, they were all outer disciples and weren't recognized by 9 Bug Gang. If something happened, these disciples would be cannon fodder, and would always be the first to charge to their death. On the official path, Lin Fan, Feng Poliu, and the others walked leisurely. Before I saw Fuzhou, I felt that Yunlu City was the most luxurious city I have ever seen. Unfortunately, it can't compare to Fuzhou. Lin Fan exclaimed. How good would it be if Jiang City could catch up to Fuzhou? No. It didn't need to, it just needed to be the same as Yunlu City. Feng Poliu said. Of course, Fuzhou's waterways are developed and there is an endless stream of merchant ships. They are connected to the various cities and business is frequent. However, we are heading there to find trouble. If not, we can see other sceneries like the markets that Fuzhou opened for sections. That is truly dazzling. That is a waste, but it is okay. If I have the chance, I will head to Fuzhou. Lin Fan smiled. Do you think he will let it go just like that? That was impossible. The main thing was that he wasn't strong enough. Once he was strong enough, he would crush 9 bug gang. Don't ask him why he was so powerful. Because he was just that confident. Feng Poliu shook his head. Young Master Lin's thoughts were too simple. Forget it, it was good to have thoughts. Could he not let him imagine? After entering the city, Lin Fan and the others came to an inn. Yunlu City didn't have his arrest warrant, maybe to 9 bug gang. They were definitely hiding in the city. Guests, please enter. The servant at the door had a rough cloth on his shoulder as he bowed and welcomed them. Loft, good wine, good food, and 3 good rooms. Lin Fan said. He couldn't let himself suffer when he was outside. Feng Poliu looked at Lin Fan. Was he so generous? He was filled with disbelief. Okay. The servant wiped the tables and chairs for the 3 of them and then left. Feng Poliu saw the servant leave and smiled. You are wanted by 9 bug gang, and you are actually in their division city, eating and drinking. Aren't you afraid that people will kill you if they find out? He had seen arrogant people. He had never seen such an arrogant person. Whether or not they will kill me depends on whether or not they have the ability to do so. Lin Fan was really calm. He had an initial understanding of his own strength. Maybe he was the strongest below Grandmaster. He was just so confident. He didn't even need to say anything. Zhou Zhongmao sat there honestly. When he heard what cousin said, he smiled in a silly manner. Very quickly, the servant brought good wine and dishes over. Servant, do you know where the 9 bug gang division is? Lin Fan asked. The servant was shocked. It was obvious that he was naturally afraid of the 9 bug gang division. He reacted and pointed at the tall tower. Sirs, that is it. Lin Fan looked out. In the distance, there was a 10-story tower that stood out from the rest of Yunlu City. It was really eye-catching and really majestic. Who knew that just a division would be so majestic? Oh, there is nothing for you to do. Thank you. Lin Fan smiled. Acting in the day was just too arrogant. It was best if he waited for night to fall before he attacked. Within a superior room, Lin Fan had nothing to do and waited for night to fall. He sat cross-legged and started to think about his cultivation technique. Purple Sun 4 Saint Scripture was cultivated to the highest realm of grade 33. The purple internal strength had a change in quality. He activated it slightly and the purple internal strength in his body was unobstructed. When he used it, the purple energy buffed him and it was filled with many mysteries. Moreover, when he used the Purple Sun 4 Saint Scripture, he could also use the Demon Heart Enforcing Scripture. This heart cultivation technique was a top heart cultivation technique. With the 2 stacked, the internal strength was really thick. There aren't many external techniques either, only Motionless Bright King Body and Demonic Ape Fist can achieve the goal of increasing the inner chi of the body. I was thinking that maybe this was the reason why I was able to fight with peak Master Realm experts at Initial Master Realm. That was what he thought. Internal and external cultivation. Both of them were at Initial Master. He thought about a question and asked Cousin whether or not he could use two heart cultivation techniques at the same time. His cousin's answer made him even more certain that he was special. How was that possible? He couldn't use two heart cultivation techniques at the same time. After getting this news, Lin Fan felt that the small support system wasn't so simple. There were many things that he had to slowly study. I might need some more cultivation techniques. Lin Fan wanted to cultivate a few more related to heart cultivation and physique cultivation technique. When that happened, he would know the exact situation. That night, the entire Yunlu city was really quiet. The night market ended much earlier than any other place. Are you sure you want to attack? Feng Polia had to ask. He didn't want Lin Fan to fight to the death with 9 Bug Gang. To 9 Bug Gang, maybe time would wash away the past matters. But once they wiped out the division, then this hatred wouldn't end. Lin Fan said, "Of course, if not, why would I come here? Let's go." He didn't want to say more. An intense battle was about to occur, just thinking about it made him excited. As for dilly-dallying and hesitation, that was the behavior of a woman. Yunlu City Division. The tall tower was lit up. White Demon returned from the headquarters and was furious. What did it have to do with him? The silver didn't disappear from his hands. He even rushed over in time, so what could he be blamed for? Have you arranged for my friends? White Demon found a subordinate and asked. Gang leader, it has been arranged. Send beauties for the guys, send handsome guys for the girls. The subordinate said. He was really curious about gang leader's friends. It was normal for a guy to want a girl, but this girl actually wanted a guy. That was weird. He even wanted to take the initiative to go up and play with the gang leader's friend. White Demon saw through his thoughts and said coldly, "If you want to die, you can accompany them. People will die." Gang leader, I don't dare. The subordinate lowered his head and trembled. Although he was the gang leader of the 9 Bug Gang Division, his position was really high. Making friends with all sorts of evil sect disciples could save him a lot of trouble. The people who came this time were Xiedao sect disciples. This sect cultivated the evil techniques of harvesting yin to replenish yang and yang to replenish yin. Anyone who fell into their hands would be sucked dry. It was really terrifying. White Demon waved his hands and told his subordinate to leave. He wanted to have a good rest and dream about being the gang leader of the headquarters. Of course, he could only dream about it. If he really did something, he would die a tragic death. Pung! Suddenly, there was a loud explosion. It woke White Demon up. His expression was one of rage. What happened? Who dared to make such a noise and disrupt his dreams? Did they really want to die? Instantly, the subordinate who left hurried in and said in a panic, "Gang leader, not good, someone is attacking us." What? White Demon felt like he heard wrongly. What did he say to him? Someone was attacking? Did they take down the signboard of the 9 Bug Gang Division, such that they didn't recognize this place? Solve it right away, don't disturb my dream, otherwise I will teach you a lesson. Scram! White Demon didn't care about what was happening outside. There were some sects that were loyal to the royal family who sent people to wipe them out. But what happened in the end? Naturally, they became stronger and stronger. Yes, gang leader. The subordinate hurriedly left to inform the elders and helpers. These were the top powers of the division. Without the gang leader even needing to attack, they could deal with the enemy. Too weak. Lin Fan pushed forwards. Even if swords and blades struck him, he would slap them to death, leaving their corpses in one piece. Cousin was just a little fierce. He didn't hold back, he was just a corpse-tearing demon. It was bloody and terrifying. Such a good environment, but the ground was covered in blood. Feng Poliu showed mercy and didn't kill him. However, Cousin stabbed him in the back. If you leave problems for my cousin, I won't let you off. Zhou Zhongmao stared at Feng Poliu and said. He didn't like such soft-hearted people. Especially, why did he leave these people alive? To leave problems for his cousin, to make them a true threat in the future? He had seen many such things. Looking down on others would bring unpredictable disasters to oneself. Only by killing them could he solve the danger. Fong Polia wanted to teach this kid a lesson. He wasn't strong, but his tone was huge. However, forget it, he wouldn't stoop to his level. If he wanted to stab him, then go ahead, as long as he was happy. Chapter 201. At that moment, someone hollered in rage. A spear pierced through the air, the spearhead spun quickly, shaking the air and forming a white energy whirlpool. Kung! Lin Fan reached out, allowing the spearhead to spin in his palm, but it was unable to move in at all. Your weapon isn't sharp enough, Lin Fan said. Feng Xing's expression changed. He was actually unable to pierce his skin. He stepped back and asked coldly, "Who are you?" People who knew him all knew that he used an explosive spear to sweep Song Mountain. He was famous there, which was why he was called Song Mountain Spear Saint. After he left Song Mountain, the people he met were all really strong. This was why he didn't become even more famous. But truthfully, his spear technique was really strong. This was why he was able to become a helper of the 9 Bug Gang Division in Yunlu City. The division only has so few people? Lin Fan looked around and didn't notice any other people. Rage points plus 333. Song Mountain Spear Saint Feng Xing was furious. Was Lin Fan ignoring him? Damn, you even dare to disregard me, Song Mountain Spear Saint Feng Xing. Take this. Feng Xing couldn't take it anymore. To cultivate the spear, one naturally had to press forward and never retreat. Feng Xing hid his aura and stared sharply at Lin Fan. Suddenly, his aura swelled and he hollered. Cloud-shattering wind splitting. He instantly attacked. The long red spear expanded and turned into thousands of spear shadows. Out of all the illusions, one of them was real and had the strength to split open mountains. The wind whistled like the wind was being sliced apart. This was Feng Xing's strength. It told the world that his title as Song Mountain Spear Saint wasn't just for show. Pa-ta! Lin Fan reached out and grabbed with his fingers. He directly grabbed the spearhead that was hidden in the illusions. With a flick of his fingers, it shook. To Feng Xing, the spear in his hand gave off an unstoppable aura. He released his hands and the spear was grabbed by Lin Fan. Lin Fan clenched his fist and punched the tip of the spear. Poochie! The spear pierced through Feng Xing's chest from the front all the way to the back. Fresh blood flowed down the spear. Just martial path grade 12 and you are so arrogant. Lin Fan waved his hands, not bothering about Feng Xing at all. Rage points plus 999. Feng Xing fell. His spear pointed to the ground. The Song Mountain Spear Saint died, but he didn't die for nothing. He was as light as a feather but as heavy as a mountain. The moment he closed his eyes, it brought him the highest amount of rage points in his life. When the gang members saw that Feng Gongfeng was killed, they cried out in alarm and retreated. Who are they? I don't know. How terrifying. Consecrator Feng couldn't even take a single move. Initially, they were extremely excited when they saw Exalted Feng. They thought that as long as Exalted Feng took action, there would be no problem. But looking at the current situation, it was terrifying, okay? Consecrator Feng died with everlasting regret. Even his widened eyes were saying, how did this happen? How did I die like this? Your 9 Bug Gang Division really has no one? If there's really no one, then I won't be courteous anymore. Lin Fan said that he was going to destroy the division, and he wouldn't waste any more time. Instantly, several figures appeared. One of them saw Feng Xing being pierced by his spear and exclaimed, Brother Feng, rage points plus 999, rage points plus 999. They were all filled with killing intent. When they learned that someone came to the 9-bug gang division to cause trouble, they were shocked and filled with disbelief. But when they arrived, when they saw Tsang Mountain Spear Saint die, they knew that the person who came wasn't simple. Someone finally came. Lin Fan smiled. Was this the top strength of the division? But it didn't look like it. Who are you people? The person who spoke was the division head, Old Wu Tuesday. His left arm was made of metal. When he fought someone, his arm was sliced off and replaced with metal. Originally, losing an arm would affect his cultivation greatly, but not only did he not become weaker, but he became stronger instead. Lin Fan smiled. We just came from Fuzhou. There are too many experts in the headquarters and we can't wipe you out. I am really annoyed and heard that you have a division in Yunlu City, so I came to take a look. I noticed that you are a little weak, so I was prepared to wipe you out. The moment he said that, a furious voice spread out. This kid is arrogant. I have roamed the world for so many years and have never seen such an arrogant person. I will rip his mouth apart. Are the young people so arrogant now? Rage points plus 888. Rage points plus 888. Lin Fan came here to be arrogant. No matter if the higher-ups were furious or not, even the gang members couldn't take it. They were bound together, and if they lost, all of them lost. An outsider coming to the division to be arrogant meant that he didn't care about them at all. So, they were furious too. And their anger gave Lin Fan enough motivation. Although the motivation was weak, one shouldn't look down on these rage points. At the crucial moment they could explode with shocking effect. Wu Tu's face was dark and sunken, which means that everything that happened in our gang was because of you? The gang leader returned from the headquarters in a really annoyed mood. He found out that during this period of time, someone was causing trouble. Who knew that they would come to find him? Right, I did it. So, you bunch of people probably won't live to see the sun tomorrow. Lin Fan said. Confident. Wu Tu laughed coldly and then his face turned dark and sunken. Unfortunately, confident people don't live for long. Pung. Wu Tu disappeared from where he stood, only leaving behind a crack in the ground. Lin Fan smiled. Internal and external cultivation exploded out at the same time. His palm grabbed towards the sky. What? Wu Tu moved at an extremely fast speed. Suddenly, his line of sight was blocked, and a palm grabbed at him. He was so shocked that his expression changed drastically. This fellow was amazing. He couldn't be careless. White Demon held his forehead and closed his eyes to rest. He opened his eyes in shock and looked at the tightly shut wooden door. What is going on? He didn't know who dared to cause trouble in the division. But no matter who it was, as long as they dared to come, there was only one outcome: death. Xiedao sect was a top sect among the evil sections. Naturally, there was a reason why he sucked up to the Xiedao sect disciples. He hoped that he could get their support. They needed people to cultivate and he could provide them. He just hoped that Xiedao sect could give him some help. For example, to become the gang leader of the headquarters. A division was just too small and he didn't care about it at all. Men! White Demon shouted. He picked up the teacup and took a sip. After a while, he frowned. Usually, when he called someone, someone would reply in a short time. Why today? Why was he so slow? White Demon's face was cold and he was about to get up. Pung. The wooden door was smashed open and split apart, splattering all around. Shortly after, a person flew in and smashed into the pillar. He used a lot of strength, causing many cracks to appear on the pillar. Gang leader! Elder Wu's face swelled up and he spat out fresh blood. Half of his body was deformed and he was badly injured. He shouted towards White Demon and then fainted. He was too strong. He wasn't his match at all. Maybe he wasn't serious and was just playing with him. White Demon found it weird and looked towards the door. Your 9-bug gang really knows how to enjoy life. The headquarters is a giant ship facing the ocean, while your division is a giant tower that looks down on the entire Yunlu city. I am really envious. Lin Fan walked in slowly. His body gave off a white mist which was formed from internal energy evaporating. When he fought Elder Wu and the others, he didn't use internal strength and just relied on his physique. Who knew that his physique was actually so strong too? Who are you? White Demon asked warily. To be able to walk here meant that the people below had all been dealt with. That wasn't a good sign. Lin Fan said helplessly, I have heard those words many times, can't you change it? Okay, you don't need to ask. I admit that I am the person your 9-bug gang wants to find. I am not here to turn myself in, I just want to wipe out your division. You are the only one left in the entire division. Zhou Zhongmao and Feng Polia walked in. They just dealt with an ant, it was really easy. Feng Polia sighed. Everything happened too quickly. They were about to wipe out the 9-bug gang division. What kind of motivation supported Lin Fan to do that? If it was just because of conflict, there was no need for that. White Demon squinted and laughed coldly. Wipe out the division? That would depend on whether or not you have the strength. Do you think you can do whatever you want just by defeating them? You are wrong. You don't understand. A true expert only needs one person to support a huge power. Facing such a situation, White Demon didn't panic at all as he was confident in his own strength. So what if he wiped out those small fries? They were just normal gang members. Those elders or helpers were at most initial master. Even he could kill them. He just needed to spend a little more time. However, you really infuriate me, White Demon said coldly. Rage points plus 999. He was in charge of the Yunlu City division. Now that it was destroyed, if the headquarters found out, they would scold him. However, as long as he took down the 3 of them, then such a thing wouldn't happen. At that moment, fog rose up from White Demon's body. There were things swimming in the fog. They looked like bugs. To Lin Fan, only the members of 9-bug gang knew the Insect Valley cultivation method. The few fellows he was facing below used martial arts that had nothing to do with Insect Valley. Die! White Demon hollered in rage. The mist formed into a fist and punched towards Lin Fan. Lin Fan dodged. When the fist landed, the ground was corroded. There was some unknown liquid left and the ground gave out a sizzling sound. Amazing! Lin Fan exclaimed. He held the blade in his hand, internal strength boiled and gathered on the blade. He then slashed forwards. White Demon controlled the fist to clash with the blade energy. There was a loud explosion. It formed a really strong strike. Everything in the room was flipped and it became a mess. Lightning blade 4 strokes. Lin Fan hollered and slashed out. The blade light covered and drowned White Demon. What strong blade energy! White Demon was wary. Half of the mist around him was sliced off because he couldn't dodge it in time. If his body was hit, he probably wouldn't be able to take it. Lin Fan tossed the blade to the side. He didn't want to use it. Now, I am going to be serious. P.S. I recommend a book, Skill Master Craftsman. Those who are interested can take a look. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.